We be live. Hello, Durud and Shalom and Ola.
Hola, Armin. Hello, Siddhartha. How you doing?
Hello, Durud, Shalom, Hola, Namaste.
Hola. Namaste. Oh yeah, Namaste. We have to include Namaste too now. Yes.
I like it.
Hello, yes. Hello, Durud, Shalom, Hola, and Namaste. This is fantastic. Okay, guys. Sid, thank you so much for being here. And before we start, can you tell people who you are? What are you doing here?
Who am I? Okay, so I am just a 50-year-old, 51-year-old dude. I happen to be married to an Israeli for 25 years, 26 years, and because of that, I have a lot of close ties with Israel, and it's become a kind of a second home for me. And I've always been really passionate about politics, very interested in politics, but my connection to Israel has given me a kind of a different perspective on both domestic politics and geopolitics. And increasingly, as Israel's become super unpopular through like across the political spectrum, I find myself at odds with a lot of the political discourse. And it's of course not just about Israel, but about about Asia, about the Latin America, about the Middle East in general, and about America as well. So I just feel like I've felt like my perspective hasn't been represented in a lot of places. And liberty politics is one of the rare places where I feel like, okay, people are talking my language. So I got involved. I started showing up maybe, I don't know, about a month or two ago, and I really enjoyed the conversation. And
we're setting up your own channel too soon.
And we're setting up my own channel soon, so you'll hear a lot more of me, and I'm excited to do it.
Awesome. Okay, fantastic. All right,
I want to subscribe.
Yes. All right.
Everybody subscribe.
Right, yes. I will. By the way, I made a mistake. I should give you more access to that. I'll talk to you later about your channel, the channel, and everything, because I want you to have complete control over that. All right. So let's get started. So you're familiar with how we do this, right, Sid? Like we're just gonna go over what's happening, and then now we'll hear your opinions as well. Somebody in the chat was saying, "Oh, I love when he talks on school." I forgot his name. His name is Siddhartha. Am I pronouncing it right?
No,
no.
Siddhartha.
Okay,
well, so actually, let me clear this up now. So everybody, everyone, feel free to call me Sid. A lot of people call me Sid. Lots of people call me Sid, so no problem with that. So I think the American pronunciation is Siddhartha. But it's not an American name. It's an Indian name, and Indian people would say Siddharth, which is it's intense for like an American to say. And then my mother is Latin American. My mother is from El Salvador, and so they call me Siddhartha, which probably is my favorite. So I don't know. Just call me Sid. It's easier. But I will respond to any of those pronunciations. Or if you have an original pronunciation, I'm cool with that too.
I'm the worst. I've been calling you Nathan, like the hot dogs.
Yeah, I like that. Well, my last name is Nathani or Nathani. So that works also. I always like it when Monkey calls me Nathani. So
okay. All right. So let's get to politics. Yeah. So great to have you here. And then we're going to potentially increase more people here at this hour. So just look out for that, guys. Don't get shocked. Anyways, we want to respond to what President Trump just said yesterday. He said a lot of things, so we're going to go through them. Is this the one that I did not like? We might have some disagreement here. So I think you guys might disagree with me. I'll see. I don't know. But he's up. I know he's joking here before you come at me. And I know you're going to see like, oh, if people are this sensitive and they can't take jokes, it's their problem. It's not President Trump's problem. I know that's you guys are going to say that, so I'm just going to know that what the criticism is going to be. I still think this was not a good joke, and this is going to be taken advantage of by the Islamic Republic, given that so many people in Iran might not be able to get the full context, and you might say like, okay, well that's their problem. And to many people in Iran who are not following the news in the way that we are, it might seem like the propaganda will be that President Trump meant this. This will be taken advantage of by the Islamic Republic to say that, look, we told you that President Trump is not just against the Islamic Republic, he's against Iran. Let me actually just play it again. So I know how you guys, people are going to push back against me and say like, no, Armin, this is not a big deal. As somebody who knows what the Islamic Republic does and how much Iranians care about their border integrity, I think this was the wrong joke. And people are like, there is no wrong jokes. So yeah, maybe you're right, but that's my view. So let me just play it.
And after we finish defeating Iran, which is being very badly defeated, pretty soon I'll be declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States. I built it during my first term, including Space Force, which is turned.
So the rest is different, right? But this is the part, right? This is the part I want to play. Let me play it again.
And after we finish defeating Iran, which is being very badly defeated, pretty soon I'll be declaring the Hormuz Strait a territory of the United States.
So yeah, people are going to point out that, I mean, he's even laughing when he's saying it. So it's obviously a joke. Screw whoever gets butthurt over this. Again, yeah, I hear all of that. I still think this was a mistake and a win for the Islamic Republic. This is a huge win for the Islamic Republic to use this as a way to say, like, we told you the people who are attacking the Islamic Republic are coming for the border integrity of Iran and violating your rights. You Iranians, we told you that the most sacred thing to you is your land and your sea, and we told you that we are defending our Iran, not just Islam. And here's proof that the Americans are not working for the Iranian people against the Islamic Republic. They're working against Iranian people and their interests as well. So yeah, you could tell me why I'm wrong. Yeah, so see, I knew somebody saying he's taunting the IRGC. It's mind games, Armin. I knew I said you're gonna tell me this. I knew you're gonna tell me this. It's a bad idea, in my opinion. Sorry, Monkey. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I refuse to care about interpretation. I've been told for 10 years, oh my God, someone might interpret it a different way. Someone might use it to say something bad. I refuse to give up my right to, you can have any opinion about it you want. I refuse, absolutely, vehemently, viciously, furiously refuse to let anyone police my speech because of how some evil entity might use it, or someone might become offended for it. This is the #1 weapon that has been used for the last decade for deplatforming people on Twitter, for deplatforming. It might be taken the wrong way. Someone might use it for evil. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. I'm an American. And as an American, anyone that is going to tell me it might be taken the wrong way, fuck you. That's my speech, right? That's what I'm going to say. Fuck you. Oh, someone might use it for evil. Fuck you. I don't have to police myself because evil people are going to do evil things, because evil people are going to do evil things any fucking way. So you go fuck with those evil people. Don't fuck with me or my speech. You can have an opinion, though.
All right. So let me just respond to that before we go to Sid. Okay. So so Monkey, you could have those opinions. My opinion is that refusing to care about how people interpret what you're saying is, in my opinion, irresponsible. Because we are not just responsible for what we say, we also are responsible for framing it in a way that we could possibly get the best interpretation out of it. That's the job of a communicator, is to communicate effectively in a way that leaves leaves the least amount of room for bad interpretations. So if you meant something and many people are interpreting it wrong, it's not just a responsibility that they're interpreting it wrong. It is also your responsibility for communicating that ineffectively. That's a failure in communication, not just interpretation by the audience. Also, talking about this is my right to say these things is irrelevant to the point being brought up, because somebody suggesting that this is a bad idea is not violating anyone's rights to speak. If somebody says something and then somebody responds to them, I don't think that was a good thing to say. When somebody responds, I have the right to say it, it's irrelevant. And it's the laziest response to a criticism. That is refusing to respond to the criticism and talking about something that was not challenged. No one's right is being challenged when somebody is suggesting something to them. And it's a lazy response. And it's also a silencing method. Like, because you you're like, oh, I refuse to care about your feelings. Well, if people are expressing their feelings about something or their interpretation of something is a tool to silence people, then people saying my right is being violated when somebody does express their feelings or where somebody does express their interpretation, that will also be a silencing method, because your right is not being violated when somebody is speaking about your opinion. Speaking about your opinion does not silence you unless you're a sensitive little snowflake that gets butthurt when somebody is suggesting that your opinion is wrong. The only way somebody talking to you and saying like, this is what I feel about you, what you're saying, or this is my interpretation of what you're saying, the only way that could be a silencing act is that you're so sensitive that you get so angry when you hear feedback on what you're saying, and you get so paralyzingly angry, and you're so sensitive that it breaks you so much that they could silence you by just expressing that, right? And that's not what's happening here. So if somebody else is doing that somewhere else, then it's irrelevant to what's happening here, right? And
okay, so I'd like to have one last thing on this.
I'm not finished.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not finished. Let me finish my points, please, because I didn't interrupt you. So please have that respect.
I didn't know how many you had. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. And also saying like I refuse to be thought policed. Again, nobody's thought policing you. They're just expressing their views. This is not thought policing. Expressing your interpretation and your views of something is not thought policing people, right? Saying I don't care about if somebody being offended. Okay, then you don't have to care, but not caring about people's what the interpretation is going to be and how people respond to this is just you only caring about what you think regarding regardless of. Sometimes we want people to get offended. Sometimes we are, other people getting offended or not is a huge important data that matters in calculation what we do, right? Sometimes people getting offended might not help us. Sometimes people getting offended might actually help us, and we're trying to offend people. So getting offended, other people getting offended or not, is an important piece of information that needs to be part of our calculation because it's a tool. It matters what it's not enough to what we say to be true. It also matters what effect it will have, because what we're trying to do here is have effect, right? And it's saying like when say it might, I don't care if it might be taken the wrong way. Well, okay, then this also shows that we only care about whether we think what we're saying is right or not wrong. We don't care about the effect that it has, because it's important whether or not what we're saying is going to be taken the wrong way. For example, when you say if this is taken the wrong way by you, then fuck you. So the interpretation, again, wrongly or correctly, is that a lot of Iranians are interpreting this exactly the way I said. So this fuck you was a fuck you to many Iranian people. And if you don't care, well, that's good to know that, yeah. So if you don't care, that's good that we know that you don't care. And that is important that if you don't care, because then that means that you're not being very effective in this fight. Because I care when I say something, for example, to Americans, I do care if they interpret what I'm saying the wrong way. If I'm saying this something to Israelis, if I'm saying something but it's getting interpreted in Israel the wrong way, then I have to adjust the way adjust the way I talk. If I'm saying something and I mean A, but Americans are interpreting B, then I need to get better at communicating. And if I don't care about that, then I don't care about Americans. And if I don't care about Americans, I'm not very effective at what I'm doing, and I'm not really a good force in this fight. I'm not being effective. I'm not really a force for good in this fight, right? And say, don't fuck with me on my speech. Again, this is a major misunderstanding of what free speech is. People expressing their opinion is not fucking with your speech unless you're a sensitive little snowflake. But go on, Mikey, and then we'll go to Sid.
Well, here is the thing. If I said 5 things and people focus on one thing and use that one thing to tell me I'm irresponsible, well, first of all, you do whatever you want, right? There's like, well, I'm not being an effective communicator. That's your interpretation, right? Oh, you have to be like me, and I'm very sensitive about the people who hear. I do not have to care about that. I refuse. I absolutely refuse. This is the president of America. This is not the president of Iran. This is not the president of Israel. He has his audience. And for him to have to like wiggle around and dance around the interpretation is the same type of literal thought police that we have endured on different platforms, because it wasn't the law that the platform does. It was these sensitive snowflakes that cared about interpretation, sensitivity, feelings. That is the knife that has been at our throats for a decade. And when we see our president rebuke and refuse that knife at our throats about the feelings of others, therefore you must change how you talk. The feelings of others, therefore you must adjust to the sensitivities of people outside of America. That is the knife at our throat that we have rebuked ever since the Biden era and before. It's been over a decade of the feelings of these snowflakes and how it may be interpreted by outsiders at our throat. And we refuse, we rebuke and reject anyone on earth that tells us that the feelings and interpretations is something that should police our speech, be it on a platform, through the law, or whatever.
All right, let me just respond to that quickly before we go to Sid, right? So
have the last word.
Like, yeah, Mikey, sometimes you get the last word and sometimes I get the last word. I think that's fine. And then
that's
you could, it's not the last one. And it's not the last word. You could also respond to it after Sid. I just want to get Sid involved, right? Nobody said you have to be like me. When you somebody said, if you say, my opinion is A, and I say, well, I disagree with A, my opinion is B, and you say, I refuse to making me having the opinion B. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Calm the fuck down. We are being a sensitive little snowflake. I'm just saying I disagree with A. I think B. Nobody's
There's a lot of
forcing
ad
you to
hominem
say
in there.
B. I wasn't even talking about you. I'm just saying anybody who said that. See, you're using your own strategy.
You're repeating what I said. If you're not talking about me, I don't know what you're talking about.
I know exactly. You do use the same strategy in school. Like you're talking about people in the school, and then you say, I'm not talking about anybody here. Anybody knows who you're talking about, right? Anyways, if you said this, you have to be like me. When you say you have to be like me, that's what you said. Nobody said that. So I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody said you, Mikey, or President Trump has to change what they're saying. Or I don't even have that power to make you or President Trump say what I think is right thing. You literally said, like, if somebody says you have to be like me, literally nobody here said that. If people are saying that this is a bad thing to say, literally nobody is suggesting that you have to bend the knee and accept our view. It's just, if you have their view, they also have their view. So what are you even responding to? The only way that me saying that this was a bad thing to say forces you, makes you feel like somebody's forcing you to agree with them, is that if you're so sensitive to disagreement, that disagreement to you seems like somebody has a knife on your neck. If disagreement with your opinion seems to you like somebody has a knife on your neck, that means that you cannot handle disagreement, that you're so sensitive to somebody saying, well, I think that's wrong. And you're saying he has his audience. You're saying Trump has his audience and he's speaking to our audience. Okay, like I have my audience and I have to tell my audience that I think that's the wrong thing. So he's speaking to his audience. I'm speaking to my audience. He's expressing his opinion to his audience. Like he gets to tell that to his audience. Okay, well, I get to say my thing to my audience, right? And it's like this is President Trump is refusing to do this and that. Like, oh, so thank you for clarifying. I thought when I say that I think that the President Trump said the wrong thing, I with my powers, I'm putting pressure on President Trump to say something different. The President Trump refuses to bend the knee to Armin Navabi. Armin Navabi was under the delusion that he could put a knife on President Trump's neck by expressing his opinion to his audience. Again, the only way that the expression of opinion, an expression of disagreements, seemed like a knife on a throat is that if you're so sensitive to other people expressing their opinions. Nobody's telling you you must. It's like, oh, I refuse to accept that. I must change how you talk. Who even used the word must or should? None of that was there. That is just being sensitive. Maybe show some resilience. Maybe grow some thick skin.
I mean, I don't know. If the straw man stop, I will.
I literally repeated your own words.
No, you repeated my words about the decade that we all went through when this was literally happened, and you acted like, oh, you're pre-bunked, you're going to have your opinion, and I'm going to fight it all the way before you even open your mouth, is the same thing as me using an example of the past. And it is not, because I'm not being sensitive about literal things that literally happened, where we were literally deplatformed for over a decade. That's not me being a sensitive snowflake. That's me looking and pointing at an actual fact that happened. And for you to take that and turning it into this straw man where I'm being sensitive and I'm not pointing at facts, it's just delusional. That's number one. Number two, you're being a snowflake. No, I'm talking about what happened to us. People lost their ability to feed their families. People lost their ability to keep their homes because they were deplatformed by sensitive snowflakes that said these opinions are harmful. Their interpretation may lead to evil. And another thing, if you say, well, what I do, and I give myself an example, and this is what I do, and they should do what I do, and then say, I'm not saying you have to do that, fine. We all know that. But when you're using yourself as an example, it seems like you're telling us that you think we should act like you. And I should not interpret that as such. I would be stupid not to take you when you say, here is an example, and not take that as an example, because that's literally what you're doing. Like this is a long series of straw men, placed one on top of the other to ignore the fact that America has lived through literally being platformed off many platforms.
Stop repeating yourself so that Sid could get in as well, because you made the same point like 6 times already, right?
I've only made it once.
No, you didn't.
I brought it back again when you used it as a straw man, and ignored it.
No, you're straw manning me, and you're also being hypocritical. I'll tell you what. First of all, you're saying examples of other people doing something. Again, how that is not what we were talking about. So I'm talking about what President Trump is saying, and I think it's wrong. And now you're talking about other people doing other things and bringing that to now. And you're basically literally doing to me, because I said like, oh, I'm not talking about you, monkey. I'm talking about other people. And you're like, oh, well, you're repeating what I've just said. So you are talking about me. So you're doing it. See, this is the hypocrisy.
Do you want to rewind the stream to the point where you did it? Because you just did it.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I know I did that, but I'm saying you did this as well. You instead of responding to me criticizing President Trump, you're saying other people somewhere else put a knife on our neck and people lose their job. Fuck them. I am criticizing President Trump, and I'm not putting any knife on anyone's neck. I'm just talking about my fucking opinion. I'm talking about my fucking opinion, and you're talking about other people putting knives on your neck and making people lose jobs. Fuck those people. Me expressing my opinion doesn't hold anyone back, doesn't make President Trump silence President Trump, doesn't take anyone's rights away, doesn't violate anyone's free speech. So fuck those other people that did those things to you. I am just criticizing President Trump. You want to bring those up? Bring them up another time. That has nothing to do with me criticizing President Trump here. And then
you use the IRGC's knife. You use the IRGC knife.
No, shut the fuck up. You here like saying it seems like what you said here seems like you were going to say that. Oh, so now interpretations matter, because now instead of dealing with what I'm saying, you literally says like what you said seems like you want to do here. So interpretations of people don't matter unless it's your interpretation.
Or the IRGC's, according to you.
Okay, now I'm using the IRGC, guys. Now I'm using IRGC's knife to silence President Trump. Wow.
Talk to the Americans, see if I'm wrong.
Sure. Okay. Talk to the Americans. Great argument. Sid, what do you think?
Okay, I'm American, so I think I'm qualified to talk about this. Well, I think that I really enjoyed this back and forth. It was very entertaining. But I think that we're you guys are kind of talking past each other, and so let me try to pick it apart and see if we can find what went wrong here. So I think like one aspect is that there seems to be a debate about free speech between two more or less free speech absolutists, right? So I don't think on principles there's any disagreement here. But so let me talk about what I think Monkey is saying, and then I'll talk about what I think Armin is saying. So what I think Monkey, I may be wrong. Okay, I'm just trying to figure it out based on what I heard. What I think Monkey is saying is that we've gone through a decade of intense speech policing, and that intense speech policing has had incredibly dire consequences for a lot of people. And it's not just that speech was policed, but actually the truth was stigmatized. Okay, so there was an environment where saying true stuff became like detrimental to people's social life, to people's professional life, and the I would say that the infrastructure for doing this kind of speech police was so deep. It was so entrenched within government, within media, within academia, that it kind of took like a bull in a china shop like Trump to open up the conversation. And so it wasn't going to happen through debate, through good faith debate, right? Good faith debate was ended. So we weren't going to be able to convince the people holding the power to let us speak freely about important topics. Instead, what kind of had to happen, I mean, this is a theory, okay, but what kind of had to happen is somebody had to come along who just ignored all the mores and all the rules, and was able to sort of gather a lot of popular support because they were so politically incorrect and so like unmoved by or like not even attempting to try to meet the speech police halfway. So I think that like what that means in practice, well, I'd say I think that the freedom to speak about all sensitive topics is very important. But I also think that Trump is not a careful speaker. And so so I'll just say, like, Monkey, do you think that's like a fair assessment of your concern around this?
That's what I love about him.
Okay. All right, cool. So let me move on to what I think Armin is concerned about. So I think, Armin, your concern is around what this particular joke implies for the Iranian national movement, because what the Iranian national movement, I should say, what the IR is trying to sell is that America is not interested in helping the Iranian national movement. What America is interested in territorial domination. Okay, and Trump just let it out, right? He said like that's his interest. What he's really trying to do is to get territory. And this is territory that is important to the Iranian national movement. So the issue is not just that, okay, Trump said something, but that Trump has enabled the demoralization campaign that the IR is trying to play on the national movement. Is that your concern about this joke, Armin?
Yeah. So first of all, let me say I know 100% that this is a joke. That President Trump doesn't actually mean that. He knows this is an international waterway. He didn't even mean any of that, right? I also know that President Trump is going to say these things, and nothing's going to change that. And he should do himself, and he should say whatever he thinks he wants to say. Nobody should stop President Trump from making jokes, including this joke. And as necessary it might be for President Trump to be able to say whatever he wants to say, without any filters, without any consideration for how other people interpret it, it is my responsibility as a content creator who tries to best represent the Iranian people to also add to that, saying, I don't think that was a good joke. You could have both of these existing in real time at the same time. You could have President Trump making whatever joke he wants to make with whatever interpretation of what people are going to have. That could exist there, and no force on earth should be able to remove that. And people like me also putting out the opinion out there that I think that was a bad joke. It is my responsibility as somebody who many Iranian people look at me and see how I'm representing them in the English-speaking world, for me to make sure that I add that out there, and for that to also exist there, that my opinion is out there that I think that was a bad joke. That opinion out there is not going to remove that joke. It's not going to silence anybody. It's not going to violate anyone's free speech. It's just going to be an opinion that is out there and exists, right? And if anybody gets offended by it, they're a sensitive little snowflake who are hiding that they're sensitive little snowflakes by calling other people sensitive little snowflakes, right?
No,
also,
don't go back there.
Okay. Sorry, Sid is but the reason why it's important that, and if anybody thinks that fuck the people who misinterpret this, Iranian people, they're not busy following everything all the time, right? They're busy living, and they're trying to make especially at these times as life is very difficult. So they're not like you sitting out there analyzing things all the time, knowing the context of things. And it's easy to get misinformed because not everybody is a political analyst, right? So this will have some impact on some of them. And if you want to say fuck them from your perspective, I will continue to defend them, even if they get the misunderstanding based on this. And it's important that we try to do our best for people not to get a misunderstanding of things. Misinterpretation is helping fix misinterpretation is a good thing to do. If somebody doesn't care about other people's interpretation, that's their right not to care about their interpretation. I try to advocate to care for both telling the truth, but also helping clear out misinterpretations. But go ahead.
Okay, so just to clarify, I want to understand. I think I missed it, so I just want to understand very succinctly why the joke is bad.
Oh, the joke is bad because the Iranian people, the number one thing they care about is border integrity, right?
Yeah.
So the Islamic Republic knows that the Iranian people hate the Islamic Republic, but the Islamic Republic also knows that the Iranian people care about their border integrity.
Got it.
And
okay.
Guys, I know that I know that the Strait of Hormuz doesn't belong to Iran, but certain parts of it does. But after the land border, certain parts of water that goes after the land border belongs to Oman, and the main part, that is the middle part, belongs to international community. But there's always a certain part of it that is part of the total borders of a country. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So this is what I thought. Like, I think that what your concern is that this critique, this joke, is at the expense of the Iranian national movement, because it's about something that they care about deeply. And in the process, it is a sort of like unintended reward for the IR, because it plays into their own propaganda about what the U.S. interest in the region is, right? What the military action in the region is. So I think that, and I agree with this. Okay, I agree with this. I agree with your critique.
A lot of people are saying that in the chat that this is a joke. I don't know how many times I need to clarify that. I know it's a joke. But go on. Yes.
Yeah, we got that it's a joke. So the question is, at whose expense is it, right? So
look, at expense means implying that you were trying to offend. Like if I make a joke at the expense of someone, it implies that I'm trying to offend them. So it's not at their expense.
No,
it's their interpretation. I'm sure not all Iranians are offended. It's just a few. A lot of them probably not even in Iran.
Okay, I didn't say at the expense of anybody. I didn't say all Iranians.
No, Sid said that. That's why I told him.
Okay, I said that. Okay. All right, fine. So I think that so I would say, from my perspective, I understand the offense. I understand the offense because this is a people at war, And
it's
so
not about it's not about offense, though, Sid. It's about the Islamic Republic trying to be advertise to misrepresent America's intentions to somebody like a let's say a 60-year-old woman in Iran who is skinning potatoes in the kitchen and has the TV on in the background, and they play this video in the background. She's just like skinning potatoes or trying to earn a living, washing dishes or cleaning the floor, and then they see on the TV and they just put this video of President Trump on TV with subtitles in Persian, and she looks at it and she just messages like, "Is that the real translation to somebody?" And somebody responds to it that like, "Yeah, that's the actual translation," and then she moves on. Right? It's not about her getting offended. It's about her thinking like, "Oh, maybe Americans are trying to take over parts of Iran." Right? It's about misrepresenting the intentions of the United States in the region. It's not about people getting butthurt. It's about propaganda of the Islamic Republic being a little bit more successful. Does that make sense, Sid?
Yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, so, but
yeah. Somebody saying,
would you
this international waters, guys? I know that. You know what, Kelly? Don't tell me. Go tell that woman that I just told you. Go find that person that I just told you in Iran that just heard this, and go tell her that, hey, this was a joke, and also this is international waters. Nobody could take over it. And then after you do that, go find all the other people that might have been receiving the wrong message, and see if you could reach every single one of them and fix this misinterpretation. But go on, Sid.
Okay, so let me just remove the word offend, okay, and I just say that this joke bothered you, and I think that you're speaking on behalf of other people who would be bothered by it, right?
It didn't bother. Like when you say it bothered me, it seemed like I fit. Let me tell you, it seemed like I was just like, oh my god, I'm so like I didn't. If you're asking me if I was crying over like,
no,
oh
I'm not saying that.
So what happened is like, yeah, no, okay, yeah. No, I'm asking if you're saying that. So, you know, Monkey, that's
Oh my God, I'm not saying I'm bothered. I'm going to create this exaggerated version of when you say offended. I'm going to create this exaggerated version of offense. That's a straw man.
That is a straw man. Thank you, Monkey. Thank you, Monkey, for demonstrating.
That's what you just said.
Thank you.
That's what you just did.
Thank you. Let me go back to Sid because I'm talking to Sid, Monkey. But thank you for demonstrating what a straw man actually looks like. Thank you, Monkey. Sid, what I was actually thinking, instead of getting offended by it, was that as somebody who Iranians look to come and communicate, it is my responsibility to come and make sure I include my opinion that this was a bad joke without expecting anybody to take it back or make any adjustments.
Okay, but so I'm just saying, like, I'm not making a normative claim here. I'm just trying to understand, because you brought it up because you didn't like it, and I actually, however we want to characterize it, right? However we want to characterize, it's not important. It's not important for my critique, because what I'm saying is I actually agree with you. All right, I understand why it bothers people. All right, so and the thing is, so I think that we're kind of like arguing past each other, because it's okay. Even for Monkey, it's okay to be bothered by this joke, right? He's not saying we can't be bothered, or people can't be bothered by it, or people can't be offended, right? What he's talking about is a sort of atmosphere which is not coming from you. Like I don't think Monkey's accusing you, Armin, of being a speech police.
Yeah, he's saying in the chat, I'm not offended, but I made the thumbnail about this, and I've been arguing about a joke to Americans for 40 minutes. First, okay, so this is a straw man. But I didn't make the thumbnail. I didn't even know that this would be the first video. My team made the thumbnail. Yeah, that. Maybe you shouldn't make assumptions. My team made the thumbnail. My team sets up the videos that we're going to be responding to, and my team put this video first for us to respond to. I didn't even see the title or the thumbnail. And the reason why we're talking to it for 40 minutes is because I'm responding to the things that the Monkey has brought up. But I didn't know it's going to take 40 minutes. But yeah, go on, Sid. Sorry, I interrupted you.
All right. Okay. So okay, I'm gonna move past this. Like we understand that there's some people who don't like this joke. All right, we understand that, and it's okay to not like jokes. I think it's okay for Monkey. Monkey is not demanding that everybody likes Trump's jokes.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
So it's totally fine, right? It's totally fine. So and then I think on Monkey's end, he's saying it's just a joke. I'm saying I guess a little more sympathetic to the Iranian national movement, because it's a very sensitive time for a people who are at war and brutalized, and these kind of things. I think that it creates an atmosphere where like offense is triggered much more easily. So that doesn't mean that it's saying like, okay, like we have to arrest Trump and we have to tape his mouth. No, he's a free man living in a country with free speech rights, and he's allowed to say this, right? This is not something that he's not allowed to say. So we all agree. I think we all agree on that. So I just want to understand. I guess what I want to say is, here's why. Here's my critique of Trump. Okay, my critique of Trump is, so I said, like, on the one hand, I understand the frustration with the speech police, which was real and consequential, okay, I felt
we were a victim of it, like, as well. Like, I lost a page. Like, when all of that was happening, I spent years growing up a Facebook page to 2.5 million followers, and it went up like this because of that time. So I know exactly what you guys are talking about. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. So yeah, and I know that you were engaged in talking about topics that were considered taboo for a long time, Armin. So you've bumped up against this atmosphere, this chilled speech. So okay, so and that's real, and that was super frustrating. I have been brought up in the Supreme Court of India and the Supreme Court of New Delhi, and I have 20 police reports against me for refusing to give in to other people getting offended. Yeah. So if you think like I think like we should, like, if people getting offended, you should like silence you. Like, I have moved addresses 3 times for refusing to give in to people policing what I say because they're offended. So I know what that means.
Can I get in on this? Because you two have been going on for a while.
I still haven't finished I still haven't finished.
Sorry.
Well, I'd like after that, I'd like a turn.
Okay. You know what? I'll wrap it up quick. Okay. So I'll try to wrap it up quick. All right. So on the one hand, we have the American side, which is a real frustration, a deep frustration with a sort of a decade-long climate of chilled speech. And which was enforced throughout the institutions, right? Even though we were legally allowed to say what we want, but there was there were a lot of topics, including, I think, in a lot of cases where the truth was taboo, the truth was stigmatized, and that's deeply offensive, right, to an American like me. And what did it take to break that? It took. This is my perspective, right? But I think it took a bull in a china shop, somebody who was like really immune to any sort of need to fit in with the media, with academia, with institutional power. And Trump did it in a very sort of kind of reckless way. And I think that it's possible that was necessary. It was necessary that it took somebody like that to sort of break through and open up the discourse for a lot more conversation. The problem I have, and I've always had with Trump, is that while I think that he's very, very good as a political provocateur and a social media performance artist, I think that he's much less good as a statesman, as a diplomat, and as a manager. And it's because a lot of what he says is reckless. Okay. And unfortunately, that's the price we had to pay to cut through all of the speech police and the political correctness. So we ended up with this guy. And I think that in a moment like this, the question is, okay, from a diplomat's perspective, is there a joke that he could have made that was at the IR's expense, that would have pumped up the crowd that he's in front of, right? That would have, yes, I think there are plenty of jokes he could have made, but that's not who he is. He's not a diplomat. He's actually a very poor diplomat. And so, okay, you know, that's at a moment like this, and many moments throughout Trump's presidency, and throughout his you know, I guess his time in the political sphere, I had hoped he said something else. You know, I just hope that he'd said something else, because I think that like a lot of the stuff that he says is dumb. You know, and I know you think that too, Monkey. You know, I know that you've talked about it too. So, you know, in this case, I think that he could have picked another joke that would not have had this impact of demoralizing the Iranian national movement, but he didn't, and he didn't because he doesn't. You know, he's not a diplomat, he's not a statesman, he doesn't think in those terms. You know, he's a very shoot from the hip guy, and I think, you know, in many ways we probably needed that. We needed that because the diplomats and the statesmen didn't have the balls to break through the deadlock on discourse.
So Sid, we got that point. Let's go to the Monkey, because I think he wants to say a lot of things too.
I'm done.
Just really quickly, I want to respond to Kelly and the load warrior. So Kelly's saying you were talking about it last night too. Yeah, that actually proves my point, because last night I responded to Ali bringing it up. Like Ali brought it up, so I'm going to obviously talk about it. And I responded to it, and it took less than 2 minutes. I think 60 seconds or 2 minutes max. So that actually proves my point, Kelly. And also the load warrior saying Armin hasn't learned how Trump speaks. I know I've been following Trump more than most of you guys, and I know how he speaks. I know this was a joke. So I know exactly how he speaks. I've been following Trump since the Apprentice. I loved his show, The Apprentice, so I know exactly how he speaks. You don't know how I speak. Me saying that this was a bad idea is something I have to do, and it's a responsible thing to do. And it doesn't. If you think I misunderstand what Trump is saying, is you are not listening to me, or maybe you're pretending not to listening to me because you think I'm not understand. Like people are like, I mean, it was a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. Yeah, I know. I think you're not very smart, or you're on purpose not listening to me. But yeah, I know it's a joke. Anyways, Monkey, you go ahead.
I wish we could get a poll. I wish we knew how many Iranians are actually offended by this. I wish we knew how many Iranians would say, you know what? I don't care. He killed the Ayatollah. He bombed a whole bunch of the people on the bingo card. I'm not going to cry while I peel potatoes because Armin is over there saying I'm frying and peeling potatoes. All right? If we're going to have a little straw man contest, well, we can do that, right? This is basically 2-on-1, and I've been sitting here in the sideline letting everybody have their say. So I wanna be able to move on from this. But one thing I'm going to say, for us that are not tied to Israel in any way, and are not tied to Iran in any way, and are not tied to India or Pakistan or anyone in the Middle East in any way, you're telling us that a joke can be weaponized and the people will turn on us and they will turn on Trump over a joke because the IRGC might use it in a bad way. I'm going to tell you what, and you know, since it wouldn't matter, like you can tell him, like he's managing his jokes badly, that they can be misinterpreted. Well, I'm gonna, hey, you know what? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, because you have a lot of people here that don't have any of those ties, right? And what you're doing is showing division here, and your division here can be used everywhere to sell them. Look at Nick Fuentes goes over there. Look, you see, they're gonna turn on us over a joke. We can't trust these people. Look, they took a whole hour of their after thanking us for so long, they want to turn on us over a joke. They're telling us that every Iranian peeling potatoes is going to turn on us over a joke because they're so sensitive. Maybe this person represents all of Iran. Maybe they aren't so tough. Maybe they will turn on each other and turn on us over a joke. So if we're going to talk about being responsible with your jokes, because I mean, I would put forth that if you had the same amount of attention as Trump, and you're setting forth this platform where mostly Americans untied to anyone in the Middle East are watching, right? And you tell them they're going to get offended over a joke and they're going to turn on you over a joke, you're going to lose, like who's being irresponsible here? I think we have exaggerated this to a great deal. I think this is completely completely unproductive. It is the opposite of productive, and it is a repeat of what happened last time. We had the same discussion about his comments on Israel. What did I say last time? This is not going to matter in a month. What's going to happen is that Israel, Lebanon, and United States will join, and these comments will be completely forgotten. And that's going to happen again.
All right, so let me respond to that.
All right, get the last word. I forgot.
Oh, I'm sorry, Monkey. You should get the last word, apparently, all the time. So
maybe this time.
Okay, you get the last word this time. But last time you got the last word too, remember? You're so sensitive.
I don't think so. I usually don't get the last word in your show.
Every time you said the last word, I let you have the last word. Every time you complain about the last word. And also shows how sensitive you are. You don't, but this shows that you're very, very sensitive, Monkey. You don't want this agreement because you think the person who's responded last is the winner, and you just want to be the winner. And you're so sensitive about the disagreement about your points being out there without it going.
We're changing the subject.
You change the subject. You tell me like, oh, you want to have the last word? You change the subject. So
okay, then let's not talk about the last word. Then have your subject.
No, let me respond to this. I want to respond. You don't get to put a knife on my neck and tell me what I say and what I don't say. Okay, I get to say what I want to say. So you don't get to you don't get to violate my rights of free speech, as you said, and you don't get to police me on what I'm saying. Right? I get to say what I want to say. So you say how many Iranians care about this? First of all, even if it's 5%. That's 5% that will have an effect, right? And saying you're saying a joke can be weaponized. Anything you say can be weaponized. It doesn't have to be a joke or not a joke. That's why it's good to be careful about what we say and we put out there and be responsible about it. You said that this goes both ways because if they could use what we're saying here to show like, oh, look, they're going to turn on us over a joke. I didn't say that. I didn't say they're gonna. So this is a straw man, right? I said that this could cause some misinterpretation, turn on us. So it's true that most Iranians love America, and that's not going to change. And saying that some people's opinions are going to change about the intentions on America because of something that heard about President Trump. This is not about Iranians. This is about everyone. This is natural for people, everybody. When you hear something in the news, it might have changed your opinion about things. This is not about the Iranian people. This is about people everywhere. So that's a straw man of what I said. And you said like, oh, they're going to say all of Iranians are going to like I never used the word all Iranians. So that's a straw man of what I said. Saying, oh, this has been exaggerated. It's only exaggerated because you don't understand Iran and how much justifiably how big the border integrity of Iran is, because Iranians for so many years have lost so much of their territory, and this has turned into a major thing that they're trying to defend because they have watched their country get smaller and smaller as their enemies take pieces of it. So no, this is not exaggerated. This is justifiably something very important for the Iranian people, and that they justifiably are very defensive against. You're saying that this was not productive. I thought this was going to be a 5-minute conversation. The only reason why it took longer is because you brought up stuff that I needed to respond to. I brought up this stuff yesterday, took us less than 2 minutes. So you made it longer. There you go. And also, you were wrong about Israel. What the stuff that was said about Israel, just because you're not talking about it and you're not caring about it because you don't care about optics, as you say, you don't care about other people's interpretation. That those comments about Israel has been very destructive to Israel. Many Israelis also believe in that. If you believe in polls, you could ask Israelis if they still find those opinions destructive. Those opinions from the White House against Israel were very destructive when they were mentioned, and they continue to be very destructive, and they were the wrong things to say against Israel. All right. Do you want to have the last word? I give you the last word.
All right. Those polls might have not changed in 10 years. I was absolutely right about what I said. I didn't say all Iranians had this opinion. I said that just like the IRGC would use it, the people who are against Iranians on the right and the left over here would use it to say all Iranians had the opinion. So now you're straw manning a section of what I said. This concept that if I don't say exactly the same words that you said, I'm not talking about what you said. It's a straw man. That's ridiculous. I'm not a recorder. I'm not going to say the phrase exactly the way you said it. So if I don't say it exactly the way you said it, I'm not reinterpreting what you said in the context. That's what's going on, right? What the general message is, many people or some people might be offended. And this is a weapon to be used by the IRGC. We're talking about a joke. The fact that we have to go this long about a joke, because apparently it's going to take a long time if people don't agree with you. When people agree with you, I'm guessing it takes 2 minutes, right? Or did Ali disagree with you?
No.
Okay, so when people agree with you, it's fast. It takes 2 minutes. So what does that have to do with anything? Right? If we're talking about a measure of time, does it take less time or more time well, it take less time when people agree with you? Of course, if I agreed with you, this would be over. The problem is that it takes an incredible amount of time when people disagree with you. Well, maybe you're the one that can't let it go.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I can let it go. Let me just respond to some of the comments. Spaghetti, thank you so much for the super chat saying Pahlavi barmigerde, which means Pahlavi will return. Thank you. And Spaghetti is also saying I'm Israel Chai. Thank you, Spaghetti, for the super chat. I'm Israel Chai. And then we got another super chat by Netskats. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Saying, I agree with Armin. Trump has the bully pulpit. He needs to calculate correctly how to use it optimally. Well, I mean, I'm not saying he needs to change what he's doing. He could I'm not just saying that, oh, Trump needs to do this, Trump needs to do that. Who am I to say what Trump needs to do? Trump could do whatever he thinks is best. And I could also come up with the opinion that I think that was not a good joke. Like it's going to do harm. So I think if Trump could say his jokes without anybody holding him back, I could also say that, yeah, that was not a good one.
That's I think both are from fair. Our group, right? That's the Nets Cats.
Is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nets Cats.
Is that? Nets Cats. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's okay. That's good. Yeah, okay, sorry. I'm really bad at recognizing.
Hey, Nets.
This is why Sid is here. That's good. Okay. Hi, Nets. Zipgun is with the super chat saying timeout. Guys, I think it's fine for us to passionately disagree with each other like this. I think this is good. This is I find it I find this actually very productive. So thank you, Zipgun. We don't have to be always holding back, right? So this, somebody saying Armin is tone policing like an emotional woman. This was a comment, and I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. And it's saying, wow, Armin is crashing out and unhinged. So thank you for those comments. And then there was another comment by Mark of Reality saying, I love you, Armin. Well, thank you. I love you too. And this was a comment from inside Iran. Just wanted to highlight that. Ali is saying, Armin لحن صحبتت با مانکی خوب نیست عزیزم محترمانه تر برخورد کن اگه میشه. So this person saying, Armin, your tone with Monkey is not very good. Please talk to Monkey more respectfully. So this person is from Iran. I just wanted to highlight that comment because it's from Iran. And thank you for the comment. And then
can I say Noah, I'm not offended by the way Armin talked to me?
I mean, you just said it. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Monkey. And then we got Noah here from our group as well. Noah is saying, will the joke hurt GOP chances in the midterms? No. I don't think so. Thank you, Noah. So Noah is saying that's the only thing that matters, I think, right? Is that what you're saying? Thank you, Noah, for the super chat. And I don't think it hurt that much. I think it's just my responsibility to come and say it was a good joke. Tolan with a comment saying, joke or not, you are the one, to me, you are the one exaggerating that this is the issue, in my opinion. That this issue, in my opinion. Well, I mean that's your opinion. My opinion is that I'm not, because of what I know about Iran and Iranian people. But maybe you're right. Shana with a super chat saying, we have our intention misrepresented all the time. We should be aware as world leaders. Armin, we aren't telling you it's a joke and it's and it's global waters. We are arguing with trolls, just to clarify. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Shona. Thanks. Sorry for me misunderstanding you. And thank you for correcting my wrong interpretation. I appreciate it when my wrong interpretation is corrected. Thank you.
What's up, Shona?
Shona. Yes. Also, there's a lot of comments I wanted to highlight. Spaghetti saying Sid's perspective is valued. And Casey was saying, I like Sid. He has great perspective. And then there's another comment saying, exactly, Sid is spot on. Great take, Sid. And Monkey had some comments start. So let's read that. It's saying, when did I say all?
Okay, that was me trying to remember what I was going to say. Those stars don't count. It was just like me kind of making a list of the points I wanted on the side. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You want me to read them? Okay,
no,
should I unstart
because
them?
It was like a note for me. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. You should have a notepad or like something next to you. That will help.
I had no idea this was gonna be like this. Sorry.
That's okay. Fit over 50 Fitness. Thank you so much for the jewels. Appreciate the support. All right, let's move on to the next statement by President Trump. I have no idea what this is. These guys, again, these are the list of the things that we play have been given to me by my research team to play. And you don't need to.
I have a lot of things that are happening, a lot of good things. The economy is doing unbelievably from the standpoint of Wall Street. We just set another record, as you know. It's 80 times where we're the best market in history.
Okay, so that was, we already know that. So let's go to the next video. Unless you guys want, if you guys want to add anything, just stop me, okay? Oh,
I thought that dog looked handsome in a suit.
Yes, that's always there. I don't know why. Yeah.
So I just say this. So for you to pay a tiny little bit more for your gasoline, just remember, you're doing it so that a very evil country cannot have a country. Really, it's the #1 state sponsor of terror in the world. We don't want to have them have a nuclear weapon. So remember that when you have to pay a little bit more, you're at $4. It's okay. I mean, it's I'll never apologize. I did the right thing. But you could, if you didn't have, you'd be.
So one thing you could add here, in my opinion, if I may, is what Monkey often says, is that if you want lower gas prices, how about you have less taxes by by blue states? Oh, look
that
at
is
this.
An excellent point.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, I think he should add that when he brings that up. And also, this is Thomas Massey posting this. He's saying, let's be honest, you're paying $4 a gallon for Israel. Horrible take by Thomas Massey over here. So you guys,
that's why he lost.
That's why he lost.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas Massey, I think that his political brand up until the last few years has been as a libertarian, as about like the most sort of doctrinaire libertarian in Congress. So I think that his opposition to taxes is pretty well established. But his obsession with Israel is super weird. And it gets to the point where it's just like he's gotten so Jew-anoned that like everything ties back to Israel. Like Israel explains everything. Anything wrong, it's got to be Israel's fault. It's got to be the Jews' fault. So I mean, it's so clownish at this point. It's like the price of fuel is it's a very complicated how the price of fuel is set, and I don't think it's really actually there's this sort of additional infrastructure that helps decide the price that is sort of beyond just market forces. It's kind of very mysterious to me why it is, but I think that fuel prices were higher during COVID. And unless COVID was the Mossad, I don't think that fuel is entirely controlled by Israel, fuel prices.
No, you don't say.
Well, he also got a lot of funding from rich Islamists.
Indeed. Yeah. So that's, I mean, that's another point. I think that he's got all of the, Massey has really exploited this too, and it seems like AIPAC has become sort of a a dog whistle across the American political space, and it just like the assumption seems to be that only like pro-Israel interests donate and participate in campaigning. And that's just fucking absurd, right? There are a lot of people who are playing in the political waters, a lot of different interests, a lot of different foreign interests. And Israel is a tiny country. It's a tiny country. It is. I'm willing to admit that it's more influential than the average tiny country. So, and I think that is actually a measure of Israel's success. But there are a lot of really nefarious players in our politics, and those players are interested in constantly putting the attention on Israel to hide their own bad faith actions.
I pulled up the funders. It's Maruk Said, $7,000. Maruk Sam, $7,000. Maruk Ranim, Maruk Mohammed, Maruk Rania, Maruk Said, Maruk Sam, Mauk Ranaya. You know how they accuse, Israel of sending $7,000 to influencers? Actually, they're projecting. It's them who are donating $7,000 through each member of their family to anti-Israel people.
Yeah.
Wait, Shauna gave us a super chat just now, which is about this topic. Shauna is saying, Washington state gas taxes is driving up our fuel costs. It's often as high as it was during COVID, even when it was nationally low. Yeah, this is the point that needs to keep being. I didn't know this until Monkey mentioned it. So I think this is, I don't know why this is not being brought up more often, or maybe I'm not noticing it. Is it being brought up more often, Monkey? Or are we like,
no, you're absolutely right. It should be brought up more.
Yeah. This is it's incredible how stupid our discourse is sometimes. I mean, it's like nobody seems to really actually care about fuel prices. They just care about how can they wield the prices, in order to score political points. I mean, I think that if we look at like the two major parties, we just see inflationary policies everywhere. I mean, it's just like this. I mean, there may be some differences, on the margins, but as from an economic standpoint, there's just a lot of noise and a lot of complaints about affordability, but no serious like policy attempt to change that. I mean, we basically, taxes are a massive burden on productivity and on supply. And so if we want things to be cheaper, we have to increase supply and we have to reduce taxes. I mean, it's just, it's not rocket science, but it's just like that, the things that we can do to actually make a difference. I mean, the reason why Shauna brought up Washington State, the reason why Washington State has high fuel costs is because the voters voted for it. Basically, they prioritized whatever it is that they wanted to do over having lower cost of energy to their own detriment. And so it does seem like most of the people whining. I'm not talking about Shauna, by the way. I'm just talking about most of the people whining about the energy prices. Don't want to do anything about it. They don't want to do the obvious things to do to make energy affordable.
Yeah. All right. So this was an attack from the right. Now let's do an attack from the left. I don't know what's in this video, but Mehdi Hassan quote tweeted it saying, racist, the most openly racist president of our lifetime. So this better be a video that is explicitly racist. Okay, 28 seconds. If this is not explicit racism, then I don't know. I'm going to be very offended. So I don't know. So we're talking about, let me see what they're saying.
That's her campaign. That's what she says, end to policing, full stop. The radical extremist has not been disavowed by Chuck Schumer, who's a Palestinian. He's a full-fledged Palestinian. In fact, I'm looking for Palestinian garb. I'm going to send it to him for his birthday. I know him very well. Or crazy Nancy Pelosi. She's totally crazy. If you got to know her, you'd say she's crazy. Or Kathy Hochul, who's done such a poor job in New York. That's
wait, where is the racism? Oh my God! Not even a race was like it wasn't even a bad race.
No,
not only it's not. What? Go on.
He is offended that a Jewish person has been called Palestinian, so he just hates Jews. And how dare you call this Jewish person, Chuck Schumer, a Palestinian?
Yeah, that's that. I mean, that's a great point, Monkey. I mean, so it's so one thing is Palestinian derogatory? According to Mehdi Hassan, is calling somebody Palestinian derogatory? Is it an insult? So that's that's part one. And part two is when did Palestinian, the demonym, mean no Jews? At what point in history did the Palestinian demonym describe a completely Judean group of people? Otherwise, I think that, like, historically speaking, Jews were Palestinian for a long period of time, and even up until today, Jews lived in the territory called Palestine, and they even predated the territory being called Palestine. So I don't really see anything here. I think Mehdi Hassan is just trying to make something. I mean, this is just like sort of outrage farming.
So, I mean, the Jews there were called Palestinian because that whole area was named by the British as Palestine. So the Jews there were getting like passports that said Palestine on it, because under the British mandate, that entire place was called Palestine. The Palestine name is a Western name for that area, and the native name for that area is Israel. And at some point, Israelis were called Palestinians because we were going with the Western name rather than the native name, right? But we reject the Western name. We accept the native name for that land. In support of Israelis, we reject the Western name and we accept the native name for the land, right?
So
yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I largely agree with that. As I said, like the Jews predated the term of the region, right? Palestinian.
Yes.
So basically, I mean, just quickly on the history, there was a group, sort of an Aegean Indo-European ethnic group that probably came from Crete or Cyprus or something like that, that invaded southern Israel. I think it was like around 1300 BC, and then they had conflicts with the local Canaanites, and then within about 3 or 4 centuries, they had completely Canaanized. So there was still.
So I don't want to. I don't want to go to Asian history because that will take us away from this.
No. Okay. So but it's important here to establish that it wasn't just in the British mandate. All right. So like as far back as 500 BC, when Herodotus came to the region, visited, he called the region Palestine, and he described some of the people there who lived there. What he described were clearly Jews. So what I'm saying is that even back then, Palestine was a region, according to Herodotus. I understand it was a sort of an outsider, but according to him, there were Jews living there. And all the way through to the British mandate, right, there were Jews who were part of Palestine. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because the reason why the idea that calling a Jew a Palestinian is offensive, okay, is because Palestinians cannot be Jewish. And that's only been true for a little while, okay? For more than a millennium, it was okay to be a Jew in Palestine, a Palestinian Jew. That was okay. And it's only recently that it's because Palestinians, the sort of Palestinian identity insists on not having Jews. Okay, that's racist. That's the racist element. Okay, sorry.
No, that is
against Pan-Islamism.
What's that?
he's talking about, Sid is talking about things before pan-Islamism. But Sid, just to be clear, I mean, what Sid is saying is historically true. However, just need to add this, that all of these names of Palestine throughout history were used by Westerners, and originally it was used as a move against the Jews to refuse them having the native name for their land, right? So the Romans, for example, and everyone else was using the name Palestine from their land as an anti-Jewish propaganda tool. That's why it came from. So that's why we don't want to use the word Palestine, because the use Palestine was used as a way to attack the Jews, right? So
yes,
does that make sense?
No, that's what I meant. Like they want to remove Jewish, like it was never supposed to be here. Islam is superior. Blah blah blah.
It was a rejection of Jewish identity before Islam and after Islam. Yes. Okay. So, but I do want to try, and I know it's difficult, but to steelman Mehdi Hassan here, to calling this racist. Again, I don't agree with this. I just want to steelman it so that we could try to respond to this horrible, but maybe an attempt to come up with the least horrible take, right? So, and I know it's still horrible though, right? So you're saying that why does Mehdi Hassan think this is racist? Is Palestinian now an insult? Like, is he defending Jews by saying you shouldn't call them Palestinian because Palestinian is insulting? So if I wanted to defend Mehdi Hassan, which is like a horrible thing to do, but if I wanted to do that, I would say, like, no, he's not saying Palestinian is an insult. He's saying that Trump is racist against Palestinians because he's using the word Palestinian as an insult, right? So, for example, if somebody comes out like, what are you, black? So if I say you're being racist, it's not because I think black is an insult, but clearly the person who's using it that way thinks black is an insult. So that's why he's calling President Trump a racist, because he's using Palestinian as an insult. And again, the response to that would be Palestinian is not an ethnicity or it's not a race. So even if you're using it as an insult, which in my opinion, it is an insult, because to me, Palestinian now, in its modern way that is being used, does not represent it represents a terroristic movement. It doesn't mean that the people who live in Gaza or people who live in Judeo-Samaria. To me, Palestinian means you're a terrorist. So I do consider Palestinian to be an insult. It should be an insult. But that was the best defense that I can have for Mehdi Hassan, that he's saying that Trump is using it as an insult.
I think like the point of the joke is the irony, because it's at a Jewish person. But you're correct. I think you're right.
Okay. All right. We got a lot of super chats, so let me just read them really quickly. Casey is saying, always enjoy Sid's input in the discussion group. Yes.
Thank you.
So
Casey.
Many people were. Thank you, Casey. And yes, Sid, you have some. Whether you agree with him or not, he has some really nuanced takes, and he also has a radio voice.
But Casey is a buddy of mine from the group. So yeah, everyone should join. We have conversations on school regularly, and Casey's there, and a lot of good people.
Yes. Yeah, guys, the link is in the description and is also in the QR code in the top left. Shauna with a super chat saying Washington State is the longest running Democrat-led state. Also, we didn't vote for it. Seattle did. Seattle, which has electric rails. So what is this in response to?
No, I mentioned this. So I think, yeah, Shauna, I stand corrected. You know that region better than I do. I just assumed. But I do think in general, like there are people voting for bad economic policy. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, not only are they voting for bad economic policy, but they're being sort of propagandized into thinking it's to help improve affordability. It's doing the opposite. These are inflationary policies.
And thank you, Shauna. And then we got Shauna. It's scary how much Shauna knows. Like honestly, sometimes like what the is this? Is she like she's like a walking encyclopedia about history and American politics.
Yeah, Shauna's sharp.
Shauna, yeah. Shauna with another super chat saying Israeli and many American Jews both agreed that Trump was right about Chuck, which was hilarious to watch. Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
It is true.
Yes. Gauging American with a super chat saying hashtag manifest destiny from straight to shining straight. Okay, that's a good one.
I love the
like
joke.
that.
I laughed at it. I was like, that's a great joke.
That's yes. And Sugar Mountain with a super chat saying reported this channel. Okay, well, thank you, I guess. Okay, I don't know what to say. Thank you, Sugar Mountain. And then we have Amir with a super chat saying no one is Palestinian. It's not ethnic. It's not an ethnicity, and you don't call a race after a temporary foreign region. So
yeah,
I would say, go on, listen.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is exactly the kind of bait and switch that it really frustrates me about it, because it's really only recently when Palestinian meant a subgroup of Arabs. It didn't mean that throughout its entire history. It just didn't mean that. Whatever it meant and whatever the reason why it was a term of use, it just did not mean that. So this is a term that has had an ancient history, and it's only in the last few minutes that it's meant a subgroup of Arabs. It just never meant that before. And so Amir is totally right. It's a temporary foreign region, and I'm inclined to bend on the idea that some people are Palestinian, but Palestinian as a sort of a regional identifier, not an ethno-linguistic identifier.
Right. So, by the way, Amir, I disagree. I think there are Palestinians. To me, the modern meaning of the Palestinian is people who belong to a terroristic movement against the civilization. Honestly, people who belong to the axis of resistance movement against Israel and the West, those are Palestinians, right? That's how I define a Palestinian. And that's why when I say all Palestinians are part of a terroristic movement, I'm not talking about necessarily every single person who lives in Judea Samaria. I'm talking about many people who live in Gaza, maybe not all, but many. But you don't have to live there to be Palestinian, in my opinion. If you belong to this movement, you're Palestinian. That's the way I look at it. All right. Thank you, Amir. And then we got Zipgun with a super chat saying the opposite. It's insulting to Mehdi Hassan because he thinks Palestinians are higher status than Jews. By the way, Schumer is capo. Capo were the Jews in the Nazi camps, right? That were helping the Nazis. So the Jews that were helping the Nazis against other Jews. So basically, he's I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but
Capo?
he's basically capo. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I think so.
Okay, all right. So let's go to the next video.
It never was, by the way. So, ladies and gentlemen of Nassau County, the golden age of America is upon us. It's the golden age. We've never had anything like it. And together with your help and patriots all across this magnificent land, we will make America powerful again. We've already done that. We will make America wealthy again. We've already done that. We will make America healthy again. We're trying to do that. We will make America strong again. We've done that. We will make America proud again. We've done that. We will make America safe again. We've largely done that. And above all, we will make America great again. Thank you very much. God bless.
I like how accurate he was here. He was like, the things that had actually happened, he announced them as actually happening, like the economic progress, The things that hasn't happened, he didn't claim that they have happened, like the healthy part, and the parts that are half done. He's actually, and he was quite accurate, so he wasn't overselling it. Everything that has already been done, he claimed that they were done, and anything that wasn't done, he said like we will do that. And anything that was half done, he claimed that it was half done. That was pretty. That was pretty. He wasn't overselling anything, which is pretty good.
Promises made, promises kept.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is interesting in one way, that I guess one of my frustrations with Trump is I felt like he has not been selling achievements. And now, like, this is an indication of him maybe pivoting. And so, when that kind of thing happens, I think I myself wonder, has he timed this perfectly? Or was it oversight that he has not been effectively selling achievements? Because I feel that there are, like, I think I remember it was quite some time ago where there was an ABC News headline about crime dropping 20% nationally. So this was ABC News. That's Disney. I mean, it's not exactly a pro-Trump outlet, but that is an extraordinary achievement. And yet I don't think that people really knew about it. And I certainly didn't feel like Trump was out there selling it. So, I do think that there are, I have always been kind of ambivalent about Trump. So looking at this, I think there definitely are accomplishments. And, from a political perspective, people should know about that. He should be out there pushing them. He should be out there selling them. The 5D chess argument may be that he's timed it right. That there was a, that the political moment is right for pivoting to selling achievements. And we'll see what happens in the midterms.
I mean, why are you saying he's not selling it? He's like, he mentions these things in his speech a lot, doesn't he? Like, we've done this, we've done that, we achieved that. Like, what else is he supposed to do?
Well, I maybe he's done everything he can. I don't know. But I don't feel like the discourse has challenged the opponents on these achievements, right? So like basically most of the talk is about how bad Trump is. And I think you can say how bad Trump is if you're really talking about his behavior or whatever. But if you say, hey, crime is down 20%, like what about that? I don't really feel like people are being challenged. So Trump is very good at actually setting narrative, and on this particular point, I haven't found it, whatever it is that they're doing, maybe he's done more than I realize, but it hasn't been effective at putting his opponents under pressure. So right. I mean, that's my observation. Like, I just feel like whatever it is that the campaign strategy has been, it really hasn't impacted the discourse. And everywhere I see people talking about it, people just say, yeah, like Trump is underwater, Trump is doing terribly, everything is bad, and even from various right-wing sources, I'm seeing that, like, a demoralization. And so I don't think that Trump has effectively set the narrative about achievements and putting pressure on the other side about these achievements. So that's only my perspective, but yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Because I think, like, he doesn't get to control the media. I think him and his team have been trying to, like, done a lot to set the narrative right regarding Trump's achievement. It's just that there's so much hate for Trump that even if you do your best to be able to demonstrate all of this, it's just that there's just so much hatred against Trump on mainstream media that it just get buried under all of that.
I agree with you, but I think that it's not, like, we're in a different media environment now, and it's not just mainstream media, right? There's a lot of media players, and I think if I look at a lot of the people that I think are immune to the mainstream narrative, I'm still seeing a lot of demoralized voices, right? So that's just I understand this is a very anecdotal take. It's not like I haven't done data analysis, but my sense is that even places that would normally be more open to counter narratives, I'm still seeing a lot of frustration, and a lot of let's say FUD, and not really much sort of accounting for accomplishments. So, and maybe that's intentional, or maybe that's just oversight, and it's changing now, which would be great.
Can I say something about this? What I'm observing is that he says it too much. Not that he doesn't say it enough. He doesn't tie that to your regular Joe. Because when you look at the kind of Americans that are invested in the stock market, it is not a lot. So making it about the stock market, you're talking to a whole lot of people who don't care. You have to put it in their daily life. Where is this affecting you? And going on and on about the stock market is not something that your average American cares for, because there's like, what, 20% of the Americans are invested in the stock market or less? I think it's less. I think it's probably around 10% of Americans that are actually active in the stock market. So talking about the stock endlessly does absolutely nothing. It's not that he doesn't say it enough. It's that he says it too much, because you're talking to the majority of voters who are not invested, literally not invested. So you have to make your message on where the growth is and where the jobs are into literally, this place got this many jobs, that place got this many jobs. We lowered the pricing in this place and that place. It has to be more tangible than the stock market.
Right. So let me
and crime dropping. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, so let me just respond to somebody that might push back against what Monkey said, because I think Monkey's right. Somebody might say that, okay, but the stock market going up is not just for the people who are holding stocks. Stock markets going up is an indication that profit is going up. That means more people are going to get paid more. That means there's going to be more goods and services. That means that wealth generation in general is going up. That means everybody's going to benefit, not just the people who hold stocks. But Monkey is still right, because that's not how not how many people see it. Even though the stock market going up is an indication that people who own stock have an optimistic view of where the economy is going in general, not just for the people who are holding stocks. But yet, because most people don't see it that way, most people think stock market going up only benefits the people who own the stocks. That's why the Monkey's right?
Yeah.
This is why he's stronger on crime, because crime is something that everyone sees. Now, I would say, yes, that's true, that he should say how that affects it. You're telling me the number is 4, but you're not telling me 2 + 2 is 4. Like big stocks equal more jobs equal 4, which is good for you, right? It's good for you. Okay, it's good for me. How? You have to give me the full equation.
Yes.
Yeah. So I agree. I mean, I think that the crime drop is something that I think is very tangible for a lot of people, and I think the stock market is very niche, right? And it's generally like speaking to the investor class, who are the most insulated from from economic turmoil, right? But I think that, like, I have seen here and there some bits of data that suggests that there's a lot of movement in the economy. One I saw about trucking, like trucking has spiked. So there's just a lot of movement of goods internally. I think that I also Shauna collects a lot of interesting economic data showing that and I just don't think that the message is getting out. And maybe it's the timing wasn't right, or maybe it's because maybe Trump is not focused enough on getting out the right information.
Right. All right, we got some super chats. Shauna with a super chat saying, I agree with Sid's frustration about rebranding Palestinians. I also agree with Armin's take that the identity is terroristic. I saw a clip of an American explaining her identity as an ex-Palestinian. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Didn't know that. I like that.
I like that too. I would just say, like, I don't agree. I don't disagree about the way that you define Palestinian, Armin. I do think that it's essentially like a pro-terror identity, and it's inextricable from a terrorist movement. But it wasn't always that way for whatever reason that it was used, and that's the point that I'm trying to make, right? For everybody, maybe it was like always an anti-Jewish branding, but like this new branding of like basically the PLO and Hamas and all of this stuff, this is actually quite new in its history, and so it has become this, right? It has had different uses over time, but what has become now is something that is ahistorical,
right? I mean, but whatever the definition is, I like it that it's being defined. If you're ex-Palestinian, that means it's not about your location of birth. It's not about belonging to a nation state or an ethnicity. It's a mindset that you can change. That's what I like about the idea of an ex-Palestinian. It's a mindset, and it's an incorrect mindset. Thank you, Shauna. And then Shauna with another super chat saying, for millions of Americans, the stock market was high and they were losing their jobs and homes. Oh, so they're saying when they were, okay, but this is something also that many people don't understand, because the stock market is forward looking. So it's a prediction of the future. It's not a demonstration of how things are going on right now. Right? It's forward looking.
Well, COVID was barring them from working. That's what made them lose their jobs and their homes.
Yes.
A lot of people couldn't survive.
Exactly. So what people need to understand is that if the stock market is going up, and even in the future you're still losing your job, that means that if the stock market was going down, it would have been even worse. Okay, so you should, even if when the stock market is going up, and even when after some time goes by, your situation is getting bad, that doesn't mean that your situation is completely not correlated to the stock market. That means there are other things at play as well. And that means that the stock market going up kind of reduced the damage for you. And thank you, Shona. And Redneck Jeep with the super chat saying, Joe Sixpack's pension is partially supported by the stock market. They definitely watch. Yes. So I think when Monkey said only 10% of Americans, he was talking about not because anybody who has a pension isn't invested in the stock market. Does that 10% that you mentioned include these people or not?
I think I'm talking about actively. Like maybe some people that have a pension do check on it, but the people who would be most affected by it and looking at it and understanding that. Here's the thing. Understanding is the problem. You have to say, we have so many more jobs in Texas than during the Biden era. We have so many more jobs in Florida, in whatever place it is. That's how you translate that to Americans.
Okay. And then we got Shauna with a super chat. Thank you so much, Shauna. Shauna saying Trump speaks Walmart American. He isn't good at speaking stockholder American. Okay, which is interesting because he's been in business for so many years. Saying the economy is moving for both groups. It's just going through a temporary bottleneck. We will start to see it more clearly next spring. Yeah, so we're going into some of the most extreme parts of the fourth industrial revolution, and there's going to be a lot of pieces on the board moving around, and there's going to be a lot of adjustments being made because of it. So there's going to be so many ups and downs, and during the periods of downs, people are going to think that everything is going to crap. But zooming out and looking at it long term, everything is going to go up and rapidly going up. But there are going to be some downtimes. And thank you, Shona.
Like the only thing about that I would say is that he has to tell what that means. When he talks about the stock, he needs to immediately pivot to what that means for your average American. He hasn't been good at translating stock to Walmart American. He's great at talking to Walmart Americans, but the stock is up at its highest, and that means more jobs here, more jobs here, more jobs here than in the Biden era. Like, translate that immediately so regular Americans understand why it's good to have the stock high.
Right. Spaghetti Q94 is saying make financial literacy great again. MFLGA. One thing that President Trump is doing that I think it will make that happen is just give people capital, right, at a young age. And I thought that was a program by the White House that they were doing that, because then they will automatically try to figure this out because they are now invested in it. You don't even have to give people education. You could just give them the motivation to get the education. If you want more people to become capitalists, give them capital at a young age. And I think that was a plan that President Trump had, which is amazing. I like that plan. All right. So let's go see what he's saying over here.
She said the other week, AOC, woke one was crazy. She's trying to back away from those comments. Why do you think she's trying to do that? Is she going to run for president?
I think so. But if you really look at it, they're all saying the same thing. They're all trying to disavow themselves from saying about crime. And we love sanctuary cities. All the things that they said, they're now trying to disavow. I think you're going to see sanctuary cities start to end because sanctuary cities are a disaster. And somebody like her, she was big for sanctuary cities. They cause crime. No cash bail. You look at the no cash bail. That's when it all started. No cash bail. Somebody kills somebody and they just say, all right, go ahead, come back in 2 weeks.
She said
defunding the police. This whole woke one, woke two narrative, woke one was crazy, let's do woke two, is basically them losing like the battle of narrative. Like the whole world is now admitting that you guys were just insane. So they're just trying to move away from it. This is them losing the battle of narratives, right? AOC coming out and saying woke one was crazy, let's do woke two instead. They're all walking it back. They're all were supporting defunding the police, sanction, all of the crazy stuff that they used to say, especially with the BLM movement. We shouldn't let them get away from everything they said.
I think that largely they are getting away with it. So yeah, I mean, just look at Mamdani. I mean, he said all those things, like he said, defund the police. And then, he said, we need to seize the means of production. And he said all that stuff. And then he's like, yeah, I don't really believe that, or my views have evolved or whatever. And it, so I don't think that, like, we will see what happens as candidates come, like El Sayed and so on. Right. If they get punished for it, if they get punished for their, very recent extreme positions, then I think that we'll start to see much more active seeking of moderate voices. But right now, I just feel like that they're largely getting away with it.
Yeah. Are they, Monkey? Do you think they're getting away with it, like by just doing this whole smoke screen? That was woke one. We're now better one. We're now better smokes. We're gonna do woke two. Do you think that it's working out for them?
No, they're reminding people what it was like. That's what's the people are starting to remember. Oh yeah, you banned the president on Twitter. I remember that. Yeah, you did close a few of accounts of people that were basically on your side but didn't agree on COVID. Was one of the worst. That was one of the, like, you couldn't even talk about Wuhan. You would get banned automatically if you said Wuhan. Like if them talking about, and I believe COVID to be woke through, we're like in woke 3. Like that was woke 2. But talking about it is not good for them. It's good for us. It's not good for them because people are going to remember the tyranny on speech, on offense, on everything that happened during what they call woke one. And a lot of it was around COVID.
Well, so I would say this, like, I mean, I think the issue that I have is that woke one, let's call it woke one. So woke one achieved a lot of institutional power. And I think that power is still intact. And that power is maybe trying to pivot in order to sort of make it more palatable to its audience. But I think that the audience is still quite invested. So it's true that it's hugely alienating for a lot of people, including me. It was like the whole woke one was basically, what made me, What made me sort of disavow the Democratic Party, which I had been, I had been a Democrat for my whole adult life, and woke one was the thing that was just like I can't go there. I can't go there with the race stuff, with the gender stuff, with the anti-Israel, anti-crime. I mean, pro-crime. Open borders, all of that stuff, and all the crazy like HR policies and like what was like privilege and all this nonsense, right? So it was alienating for me. It was a sort of, I guess, was a kind of a coastal liberal elite, and it was really alienating for a lot of people. But it took over the institutions, and I still think it's very much entrenched, and it's very much entrenched in the Democratic Party as well. So what they're coming across is that it was alienating for a lot of people. And I agree that Monkey is right in the sense that, like, that it's bad for them to even talk about it in this way because it brings up all this stuff. But the thing is, like, okay, like if we say that woke one was that sort of that package, and Monkey is describing COVID as woke too, and the sensitivity around just admitting that COVID originated in Wuhan. Well, woke 3 is rape is resistance. Woke 3 is from the river to the sea. So I don't see, to me, it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. And is the media saying, whoa, what about woke 2? What about woke 3? I mean, isn't that extreme? But no, they're sort of allowing them to sort of shift. Yeah, it was a crazy time. It was a sort of, oh yeah, we said some crazy stuff, but like we just want more affordability or whatever. So I feel like that the sort of the activist class has so fully infiltrated the institutions, and they're not backing off. They're just trying to find the right language to deceive people.
Absolutely.
Mickey, do you want to? Okay. So I wanted to tell you why woke 2, based on their categorization, is I agree with you guys, is more dangerous than woke 1. So what is woke 1? Woke 1 was cultural Marxism after the failure of Marxism. Marxism divides the world into haves and have-nots, right? The capitalists and the workers. And basically creates good and evil based on that division, right? And it's quite binary, and it's all based on the economy. It's not based on anything else. It's based on economic agency, and that's the division. It's economic essentialist. That means there's culture, no culture, no ethnicity, no nationality, gender. None of this matters. None of this matters. It's only the people who have and the people who don't. And that's the war. And that failed, after the Cold War. So they went and re-engineered it, and they created cultural Marxism, which is basically woke 1. And cultural Marxism is like, instead of having a binary, let's do a point system, which is basically intersectionality, right? And, you get different points for different things. So we have the economic agency, the have and have-nots. And if you don't, then you get 1 point. If you're poor, 1 point. But that's not the only point we count. Okay, you would get, if you're non-white, that's another point. If you're non-Christian, that's another point. If you are disabled, that's another point. If you are gay, that's another point. If you're trans, that's another point, right? So if you are a black, gay, trans, Muslim woman who is disabled, I don't know what else to add to that. Be Muslim, yeah, as well. Then we should just worship you, I guess. You're God, right? And if you are a white man that is
immigrant,
straight,
you can add immigrant to that, Armin.
Immigrant, yes.
Undocumented.
Okay. So, yes. So, yeah, exactly. A criminal also, that will help as well. But if you're a straight man, white, cis, American or Israeli, Jewish would help. And so you're just the devil himself, able body, right? Fit, okay. That means that, and rich, then you're pure evil. So it's just a spectrum. Instead of being binary, it's a spectrum now. You're at different points of the spectrum, right? And then, like, this is more fun, this is more interesting. We get to involve in everything. We get to now be in media and culture. There's so much wiggle room we have here, right? Like, this is a lot more fun. We get to basically control the media and the narrative based on so many things, based on racism, sexism, I don't know, homophobia, Islamophobia. Look at all of these levers that we could pull right now and basically control the narrative on so many different things, right? Instead of just like the economy, right? So that was working for a while recently, and then it crashed and burned because it was becoming ridiculous. It was becoming too obviously ridiculous, right? So I think woke 2 is just going back to what worked for a longer time. I think Marxism, pure Marxism, is actually more dangerous than this whole ridiculous nonsense that they have built, because Marxism, on its surface, makes sense to people, right? It is insanity. It destroys entire societies, but it has higher selling power. Okay, because if you go tell people like, oh, like, if you're racist against white people, at some point people are going to be like, okay, this is something stupid, right? If you tell people that, we should, cut the genitals of children before they can even consent, at some point people are like, okay, you sound retarded, right? But if you say like, hey, some people are rich and some people are poor, and that's not fair, and we should fix that and make it more equal, the mind, like, naturally people that resonates with people, right? So just because communism failed, people were trying a new model, but communism was working, spreading like a disease very fast, very effectively, and that works better than this cultural Marxism. Economically essentialist Marxism works better than cultural Marxism because it's easier to sell that. If you keep talking like, okay, stop talking about race stuff or gender stuff. Let's talk about your affordability. Let's talk about your income. Let's talk about whether you could live life. People are like, oh my God, thank you. Let's go back to that, right? And that is what we care about. I mean, their solution is the most garbage solutions on earth and causes poverty more than anything else. But it resonates with people as actually something that maybe like, oh, okay, you actually care about our lives rather than going up and talking about stuff that doesn't matter, right? So this is why many of these people are going back to the drawing board. And I think it's not woke 1, woke 2. I think it was Marxism, cultural Marxism, and now back to Marxism. That's the way I'm seeing it. And that's why we should be very concerned, because that is more dangerous. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I completely agree.
So I want to, you want to go, Monkey?
No, because I just agree. Everything he said, I'm agreeing with.
Okay, all right. So I have a take on this. So I think like the Marxist pivot to culture, at least my understanding of that pivot, right, is that I guess like that reality defied the prediction, right? So the prediction was that that free markets would continue to sort of immiserate and alienate the working class, right? And that frustration and that like increasing exploitation would build into a workers' movement that would seize the means of production, and that didn't happen, right? So on the contrary, capitalism led to a lot of sort of increasing prosperity for the working class, and like much more movement into the middle class, much more ownership, much more economic flexibility and agency, and better working conditions, right? So it basically, it did not follow the model. Now, I'm sure that there were some Marxists who were like, oh, okay, you know what? Marx was wrong. His predictions were wrong. And he claimed that they were scientific. And now we've played it out and it just didn't work out. So you know what? Marx out the window, right? It's garbage. But I think another group of Marxists looked at it and said, oh, no, Marx is right. But the thing is that the conditions are not there for a revolutionary working class. And what we need to do is we need to create those conditions through cultural means, right? So basically, people don't realize, even though their wealth is increasing, even though their working conditions are improving, even though their economic agency is increasing, they're still being exploited. There's still exploitation. The evidence of that exploitation is profit. As profits grow, that you can just see that this is money that the working class should be getting and is not getting, right? And so we need to do something about that, because what happens is people are being fooled into their own exploitation by these trinkets, like having a house or a car or having a comfortable life, being able to take vacations. All of this is sort of window dressing. And what they don't realize is the degree to which they're being exploited. And you can just see profits growing more. This means more and more exploitation. So what we need to do is we need to address that culturally. We need the culture to sort of recognize their degree of exploitation. And we need to criticize. We need to criticize the capitalist class, and we need to criticize the ruling class through culture. And let's say that the apotheosis of that was woke one. Right now we can say, okay, now we do have a revolutionary class. We do have people who are really angry and demoralized and sort of and hate the capitalist class. And now it is the appropriate time to pivot to economic matters. So that's a possibility, is that it's not just a pivot because it doesn't work. It's a pivot because the conditions have already been created. I don't think that's entirely true, because I think that the cultural Marxism, that the sort of cultural pivot, radicalized more of the sort of educated middle class rather than the working class. So the working class is not really radicalized, and the vanguard is not coming from the working class. It's instead coming from sort of a college-educated coastal elite type. But anyway, I think that if we look at it from that perspective, we can see, like, maybe in a sense their plan is working.
Great takes.
That's Yuri Bezmenov's active measures and the School of Cultural Marxism from the Frankfurt School. If you want the history of everything that's said, he's basically talking about, you can see it all in the speech by Yuri Bezmenov, and any look into the School of Cultural Marxism will show you exactly, deeper, like with more time, exactly what he's talking about. But yeah, I agree. We're not there yet.
And okay, so let's do the Monkey. When you get time, can you send a link to that to me? If it's not too hard to do.
Great video. I will.
I would totally endorse that. The Yuri Bezmenov interview is really fascinating. And actually, it's one thing, like, we're not talking about that right now, but also like anti-Zionism. The Soviet, let's say, contribution. Let's say the Soviet contribution to anti-Zionism is something that is really underestimated and often not talked about at all. And if you listen to Yuri Bezmenov's interview, you see all the elements there. So it's like those techniques, and we can go into the history at some point in time, but it's really fascinating. And it's really fascinating how the degree to which Soviet propaganda has outlived the Soviet Union, right? So the Soviet Union is no longer here, but the seeds of that propaganda planted decades ago are still having massive impact on our discourse today.
All right, we got some super chats. Shauna with a super chat saying sanctuary cities should be 100% illegal. There is no constitutional or federal justification for it. I don't even know how they are legal. Like, are they already illegal? Like, I don't even understand how that is even a thing.
Well, so I think the way it works is a kind of separation of powers, which I think for a lot of us, we think is generally a good thing, like checks and balances, separation of powers. So basically, but it does allow for this kind of thing where it's like the various different layers of, like, let's say state government or city government are not obligated to sort of provide data, right? So, like, for example, schools or driver's licenses and so on. Like they're not obligated to provide that data to the federal government, and the federal government is the government that's responsible for border security, right? So there is this kind of separation, and so that's kind of what she's saying. I mean, if of course it's not it's illegal for people to be here without documentation. That's 100% true. But because the enforcement is so distributed across different layers of government, it gives cities and states a lot of latitude on how how laws enforced internally.
But the federal state also has rights, and sanctuary cities could not get federal funding.
I don't
states have
disagree
rights,
with that.
and okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I would say like, look, if you think that the rule of law is important, right? Then if you think that it's important, then you have to think that it's important to enforce border security, right? I mean, you have to think that. And what's happening is that while the idea of checks and balances is good, there's an exploitation going on where people are using these checks and balances to undermine the rule of law. And you can say, okay, like it's not just an issue of undermining the rule of law, but are there real tangible consequences to this policy? And I think that there really are. There really are real tangible consequences. So the federal government should do more to encourage border enforcement.
All right, let's move. Okay, thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
They're literally breaking federal law. They're not allowed to do that. They have to give up the information if the information is part of a federal investigation. A state can't say, I'm not going to give you the information. Like a state can't arrest like a bomber and say, I'm not going to give you the investigation papers and documents just because you're federal. No, terrorism is federal. We're taking over. Same for immigration.
All right. Fit over 50 Fitness, thank you so much for the jewels. And then Zipgun, thank you so much for the super chat saying woke 2 is more dangerous because the oppressor is a smaller group, more easily targeted, more likely to result in death of the oppressor. I don't understand that. But do you guys get?
I think so. I mean, I think like, maybe from this angle, we can say like Luigi Mangione is an example of woke 2. Right, where it's just like we can sort of focus our anger towards a smaller group of people, and then and with all of the sort of the
hate,
the violent revolutionary rhetoric attached to it, which basically enables people to sort of to practice vigilante justice.
Charlie
Kirk.
Makes
sense.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, another example, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's actually Zipgun. That's a very good point and scary point. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then Carolyn takes us with a super chat saying, I am loving hearing Sid's perspectives. Can't wait to subscribe and seeing that keyboard and guitar, hoping for a new era of not punishments. Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Carolyn. Guys, Carolyn is saying that because we make Ali play the Santur for punishment when he loses the super chat, right? So, okay, thank you, Carolyn. Yeah, maybe you could play that at some point. Thank you.
As a punishment?
Yeah, as a punishment.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next video here. This one.
One of the things that El Sayed said is that he thinks football is tied to slavery and he thinks it's toxic masculinity. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a very place when you have Michigan, it's a very bad place to be saying it. They have a great football team and a number of great football teams up there that the people love. I would say that that's a big mistake to be saying that, but he said a lot worse, frankly. He said a lot worse. I mean, he wants defunding the police. All of these statements, how do you get elected? And then now they're trying to take everything back, defunding the police. All of a sudden, they don't want to defund the police. And I right now have thousands of police out there waiting. And I'm telling you, they will not be happy if I said, ladies and gentlemen, let's defund the police. I think this would not be good. They are very happy right now. They're all screaming, Trump, Trump, Trump. I could turn that off very quickly. Just say, I'd like to defund the police, everybody. So I don't think people forget that.
One of the things that
I hope they don't. And Monkey's prediction is coming true. Regarding the Michigan Senate race between Abdul El Sayed and Mike Rogers. because look at the poly market. This thing is narrowing down. Look at this. They at some point there was Abdul El Sayed was at 83%. Mike Rogers was at 15, and now they're at 55 for Abdul and 46 for Mike. And if you actually go and just look at the past week, zoom in the past week, the week started with Abdul being 61, Mike being at 42, and now it's Abdul at 55 and Mike being at 46. So
when did
Mike
he win the nomination?
Basically, that's why I did the last. That's why I zoomed in at the last week, because I think it's been a week now, hasn't it? Because this is the drop is in the past week. Because you predicted that when he wins the nomination, it's going to close this gap, and your prediction is coming true. Because people don't find these people to be too radical. If Michigan goes red because of DSA, that is a huge blow to the DSA, that even a blue state turns red once you have a DSA candidate, right?
Can I admire how he flipped? Yes, correct. Can I admire how he flipped the football question into defunding the police? That was nice.
Yes, go ahead. Look at his face here. Did you see the camera changing? Look at this one more time.
I'm like this question.
Yeah, look at this again. It's so funny. The timing is perfect.
One of the things that El Sayed said is that he thinks football is tied to slavery, and he thinks it's.
I love that.
Like you, dumbass.
Are you kidding me? Toxic masculinity. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to recover from that. Anyways, what do you guys think is going to happen with Michigan?
Well, I mean, I would say it's still disappointing to see that he's in the lead according to these polls. I mean, it seems like if we look at his own primary performance, he badly underperformed the polls. So it could be in this case that the polls are polling methodology favors him. And maybe actually he's doing much worse than the polls show, but it does seem like he's maintaining some constituency, and that's really disappointing. The idea that football is what is he like? Is it saying that it is like slavery, or is slavery, or what the fuck is he saying here? I mean, I just think it's demoralization. I think it's just over and over again. Like these guys, what they hate America, and they want Americans to hate America as a vehicle to increase their own power. I'm not a huge fan of football myself, but it's just the idea that it's slavery. I mean, no one's being coerced into playing football. There is no structure that coerces people into playing football. It's completely ridiculous. I mean, in the Middle East, it's not necessarily like that. Okay. Like you can look at sort of like camel jockeys, and where they come from. There is coercion, and it's extremely, extremely exploitative. It's important for us to draw the line. Whatever you think about football, it's important for us to draw the line between what slavery is and what football is. If you can't do that, I think you're unqualified to lead.
Look, I would like to add to that very quickly that the Democrats fought for slavery. They are the Confederates. They created the Ku Klux Klan. They forced our sterilization, especially in Puerto Rico, New York, Florida, Texas, and California. It is the Democrats that maintain forced sterilization policies until 1977. They are the roots, the trunk, the branches, and the leaves of systemic racism, and the leading force in systemic racism across the globe in our modern times. There is nothing more racist than the history and the enacted policies of the Democrat Party, and they still stand against your right to own and defend yourself and your property.
What did he even? You're going.
No, I just saw somebody in the chat said that they're not surprised that I don't like football and that I'm anti-American. No, on the contrary, I love America. I am so pro-American. And it's not just because I love America or that I'm pro-American, it's that I'm incredibly grateful to America for having given me and my parents, my immigrant parents, an opportunity. So yeah, and you know what the truth is, I don't even dislike football. I like football. I just kind of I'm irritated by the amount of commercials. So you know, I don't follow it as much as I used to when I was young. But
wait, you have to like football to appreciate America? Isn't America like the great because it gives you options, so many options on what to like and not what not to like? Like, isn't that the point of America, to have all the options, not to be limited to certain options? Like if you think America means that you have to like football, then you are anti-American, because America is about choices. Yeah,
I don't like football.
Right? Oh my God.
But I like the commercials. They got the best commercials at the halftime show. Come on, man. You don't like the commercials? They're the best commercials of the year.
No, I don't like the
I'm kidding,
commercials.
I do like
Actually, you're right. I agree with Monkey. I don't like football, but sometimes I just go for the commercials because they put a lot of effort into those commercials. So the commercials actually, yeah.
So I mean, it sounds like after all, I'm the most pro football person on this panel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay, wait. I want to see what he actually said about football. Like, I don't even understand the argument of, I mean, toxic masculinity. I kind of get why somebody who's an idiot would say that, but for slavery, I don't even get the argument. What is the argument? Let's listen to him. Here,
football is very much associated with a particularly masculine and oftentimes toxically masculine culture, and so much of it was about you wanted to be able to get back up and play for your team, and you really aren't allowed to show pain or vulnerability. That's part of the sport. Football.
Wait, where's the slavery comment? I have to find the slavery comment. So so that is toxic masculinity. Because you're not a pussy, like that you work through. I don't understand that that you're not a sensitive, like that you work like. I don't understand what's the toxic masculinity.
I just think like, okay, he didn't say slavery here, but it's also a dumb take. So you know the nature of sports is the challenge, okay, and different sports are challenging different things. But you know, in the case of football, it is a very physical sport, and you have to be tough to succeed. And this is this is something to admire. Some of the toughest people, that's what it takes. And so what you have is the people who excel and the people who are excellent at football are tough, and they have a high threshold for pain. And we should admire them. We should admire. And this is toxic masculinity. I'm sorry, but there are 1,000 ways where a man can demonstrate their masculinity that are worse than excellence on the football field.
Pandering.
This is the opposite of toxic masculinity. This is not to condone every football player's actions off the court or off the field or on the field even. But what I'm just saying is the idea that you are able to push through and play through pain and achieve excellence on the football field is the opposite of toxic masculinity. It's very not toxic. And that's what's being celebrated there. That's what's being celebrated.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
No, I'm done.
No, that So, I mean, maybe ignoring injuries, that's toxic, but ignoring, working through pain is being tough, and being tough is that if that's toxic, like I don't understand the whole, that's just masculinity. It's not toxic. It's only toxic if you are ignoring pain that could have long lasting, that is actually coming from an injury that could have long lasting effects. But working through pain is what you have to. Every man has to. I mean, every person actually has to learn to do that, and sports is a good way to learn that.
Yeah, and we admire them because they excel at this. It's something that is needed to be excellent at football. You have to be tough. You have to be able to take the blows. You have to be able to take the tackles. You have to be able to take the challenge. And this is something that is it's a very positive thing, that this is how they show their toughness, instead of taking it out on strangers or whatever. Like this is how they display their toughness. It's a very positive outlet for these tough guys, and we should rightly admire them for their excellence.
I think I found the slavery commentary.
I'd like to say one last thing on the football thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I don't think he believes a thing he's saying. I don't think he believes in toxic masculinity, and he's pandering. That's what it is, pandering.
Yeah, I think Monkey's right. I think it's just like mostly it's just a list of talking points to signal that you're down. And so he just he's clever at finding ways to regurgitate these talking points, and without putting any thought into it. He's just outsourced his thought to whoever is the DSA policy people or whatever.
Right. So I think this might be the slavery commentary.
Exactly, because this is from his podcast. There was a February 2023 episode of America Dissected podcast where El Sayed questioned whether there was any version of football that he said could be, quote, ethical or safe. And he linked the culture of the sport, which he did play growing up, to something much broader. He said narratives that had been historically used to justify slavery, westward expansion, and other forms of oppression. Listen to Amir.
Westward expansion.
You think about all the wars that we fight abroad, all of the sordid history of oppressing other people in the name of this American idea, right? Whether it was, quote, manifest destiny and destroying Native Americans, or it was the transatlantic slave trade, where folks who, quote, founded this country on the backs of Native folks that they destroyed, then captured people, enslaved them, and had them work their fields because they thought it was their right. And all of this, like a lot of these narratives, you kind of see echoed in the ethos of football.
What the hell was that? That was so much nonsense. We could just spend like 6 hours responding to how much nonsense was just loaded in that statement. I don't even know where to begin. Are you kidding me? These people are what kind of a stupid person believes this stuff? Who actually believes this stuff? Oh my God. Is this woke 1 or woke 2? I'm lost, because when was this? This is just from 3 years ago. You guys what is this?
Yeah,
this is so insane. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is pretty much. I wouldn't say this is woke too. This seems pretty indistinguishable to what I heard 10 years ago. So I mean, this stuff has been floating around for a while. All of this stuff has been circulating in the discourse for years. But I think it really comes down to this for me. I mean, this is demoralization. Okay. Okay, let's just look at this. All the wars. Sorry. Yeah, you think about all the wars that we fight abroad, all of the sordid history of oppressing other people in the name of this American idea, right? And I think that, look, we did fight wars abroad. There is, let's say, there is some truth to the idea that there's a sordid history, but it's not unique. It's not unique to America. What's unique to America is our own sense of the injustice of it, right? Our own introspection on this, and this is what he's exploiting, because people fight wars. People have their sordid history of oppressing is all over the place. I mean, the entire history of the world is conquest, exploitation, displacement. That's the entire history of the world. But there's just not this introspection that happens. People somebody was pointing out this when you during the World Cup, Like the Norwegian team, the supporters had like Viking helmets, right? And they're allowed to be proud of their, you know, their history of their sordid history of oppressing people. You know, they're allowed to, and we are introspective about it, and that introspection is not a bad thing. But he's weaponizing it, because instead of saying, so, you know what, okay, we've done some bad things in the past, we've done some good things, we've done some bad things, yeah, sorry.
Sid, I agree that the United States has done bad things and good things, but this example here is part of the good things, right? Like
that's the point that I'm making. Actually, the point that I'm making is that we are uniquely, and I don't want to say uniquely, but we are rare in our introspection about our bad actions, about the things that were bad in our history. I don't think the history is all bad. I think the history is complicated, like it is for all of the different empires around the world. We are introspective about it, and so we look back and say, yeah, you know, that wasn't so good. We shouldn't have done that. We should, and that's a positive thing. But he's turning it into a negative, because his implication is that we are the ones who did it. It's only us, right? And that's demoralization. It's a demoralization.
But my point is like people are like, oh, we did so many good things, we did so many bad things. I just want to say the wars the United States fought abroad was mostly part of the good category, because I think the statements like this come with the assumption that all war is bad, right? So
no, I don't even think that he believes that. He just believes that American wars are bad. You know, that's his belief, right? And that's what I'm saying is it's demoralization. Everybody else can have wars. You know, I mean, I don't know what does he say about the Syrian civil war?
But let me make my point. But let me make my point, because my point is that, you know, the wars that America fought abroad for this American idea saved the world, right? The American idea dominates how politics is done around the world, how the nation state model, the international agreements and norms that we have, was because the United States went around and defeated the forces against the American model. And everybody in the world is now benefiting because of it. So when they say like, oh, we went and we had United States did war, yeah, and we should be grateful for it. Everybody in the world should be grateful for it, because it defeated all the other models that was not the American model. And now the world is a much more stable and prosperous place, and peaceful and prosperous place because of it, because of the Americans going out and defeating the forces against liberty, the forces of tyranny. That's what I'm saying.
I don't disagree with you.
What I'd like to say something on this, if I can.
Go ahead, Monkey.
Yes.
Look, I want to say three things. Why is slavery only bad when it's in the past? There's still slavery all over the earth, mostly in Africa and the Middle East, perpetuated by Islamists. Like, why does he only care about past slavery and not present slavery? Number two, football players are paid at a minimum $1 million a season, and it can go up to $5 million a season. I don't think that's a slave. And number three, if we're going to be realistic, I thought the Vikings were black. Didn't the BBC tell me that Vikings are actually black? So, you know, you can't be against Vikings.
Racist. That's racist.
Great point.
Racist to be against the Vikings.
Yeah. So I would just say, like, you know, yeah, I think that America's history of warfare compares quite favorably. Compares quite favorably to a lot of great powers in the past. I won't say it's perfect, and I want to preserve the introspection. I want to preserve that, because I think it's one of our superpowers, right? That we are introspective about these things, that we look at it, we dissect it, we say this is good, this is bad. But El Sayed, he's not interested in that. It's all bad. America is bad. America is tainted from the jump, right? That is his point. And that's why he wants to say, look, we did all these bad things. Everything is bad. Everything is bad. Everything is bad. And we can see reflection of the bad stuff in football. No, that's wrong. Okay. Football is a cultural output. Okay. It's something that comes, yes, it comes from our very complex history. That's true. Everybody has complex history and everybody has cultural output. This is not unique to us. Okay. The unique thing to us is that we try to do well. We want to do good. We often fail in that regard, but we're introspective about it. That's what's unique to us. Okay. And around the world, Abdul El Sayed is not forcing anybody else to apologize for their history. He's not demanding anybody else to apologize for their history. And the reason why is because he thinks that nobody has the degree of apologizing to do than we do. Okay. And that is bullshit. It's bullshit.
I have a question. My question is, how many topics do we have to get through before it's time? Because I know usually you like to get through. Maybe we do rapid fire.
Okay. Let me just quickly say this. Also, the natives, just really quickly have to say that. First of all, they didn't destroy the native. The main thing that destroyed the natives was the virus. It wasn't through violence. And if you also want to focus on violence, the natives were doing more violence on natives, way more before the Europeans showed up. So if anything, the Europeans saved them from themselves. Anyways, let me go through the super chats. Redneck Jeep with a super chat saying, LOL, keep trashing football, go blue. Okay, yes. Thank you, Redneck Jeep, for the super chat. Yeah, let's see how that works out for you. Zip Gun with a super chat saying, because of intersectionality, the majority can declare themselves oppressed, and the oppressors become fewer, leading inevitably to the Jews as top oppressor. Yep, exactly. Zip Gun.
Yep.
Thank you for the, and I think that's by design. Yeah. And thank you for the super chat. Sherry with the super chat saying Christian rally in Dearborn Tuesday might help Rogers. Oh, well, the guys, look that up if you are in Dearborn. And if it helps Rogers, and if the Christians welcome you, then consider participating, even if you're not a Christian. if it does help you get rid of this guy on the screen, then maybe consider participating whether or not you're a Christian. Thank you, Sherry. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sherry, for the super chat. Zip Gun with the super chat saying that it's un-American to dislike football is like saying it's un-Iranian to dislike Hormuz Sabzi. Hey, now, Zip Gun, don't. You're going too far. It's one thing about football.
Is it possible, Armin? Is it possible?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to say it's fine. If you don't like Hormuz Sabzi, you can still be Iranian, whatever. Okay. It's okay. We allow it. Because I have to, because we're pro-liberty, but I don't like to. I'm joking. Thank you, Zip Gun. Saber Coaching, thank you so much for the super chat. He's saying this since all team owners are white. Oh, and nearly all players are black. Yes, you're right. It's an anti-white rhetoric spread by the Wycliffe absolute idiocy. I think that's what it's saying.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Saber Coaching. Great point. I agree with you.
Good point.
And then F with the super chat saying, I will agree to reparations when I get them for my people's slavery by the Ottomans and the Barbary pirates.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's go. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I want some too. I'm Iranian, and we've been invaded by Arabs. Okay, so maybe we should get some as well. Thank you, Ahef. Tinley with the super chat saying, don't trust polls because 3 things yet happen. Trump's national emergency declaration for midterm, Dallas GOP convention, and GOP's $80 million ad war chest. So I wouldn't say don't trust polls. I think don't 100% have faith in them, because polls are not supposed to predict the future. Polls are a snapshot of what's happening now. So you are saying that things could change, which that means that those things are going to change the poll. Polls are not telling you. So you have to better understand the polls. So the polls are not telling you that this person is going to win. Polls are telling you that if the election was held today, this is what might happen. It's not so when those things that you're saying happens, it changes the poll, right? So that's the way I would talk about it. And thank you so much for the super chat. All right. So let's do. Oh, we got another super chat. Redneck Jeep said with the super chat saying was referring to University of Michigan football epic heritage. Oh, okay. Thank you for the context. Sorry.
Yeah.
If I don't
By the
understand.
way, I think I just saw that. I think that the University of Michigan football stadium is the largest athletic stadium in the world.
Oh, okay. Well, let's not talk about that. We have to talk. Let's do just one or two more videos. Okay.
Rapid fire.
I can't hear.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
And Hochul and Mayor Mamdani.
Mamdani.
We're against securing our border. They were against our massive tax cuts. They were against no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our seniors. They were against all of that. They fought it like hell. Is that right, Congressman? Am I right? Nick, right? They fought like crazy. I mean, we didn't get one vote. We have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and you cops get a lot of overtime, obviously. You get a lot of overtime. I made you a lot of money. You deserve it. But and no tax on.
I made you a lot of money, but you deserve it.
That's a working class point. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
That's yeah. So see, so what Monkey wanted Trump to do, he's doing it, and I think I have a video that shows what Sid wanted Trump to do, like basically bringing these points and putting it out to the public for them to see. So Sid, look, I think President Trump might be doing it over here, if I'm understanding this right.
So the headline today is: does everybody know Caroline? She's with us. The headline today is exactly that. You see it? It said prescription drug prices record sharpest drop in more than 60 years.
Prescription drugs prices dropped more in the past 60, like right now compared to the past 60 years. Okay. See, Sid, you were saying like these points, he needs to come and take these points and show it to the media. That's what he's doing.
Can I clarify my point?
Yeah.
So for me, it's not good enough that he says it. It's a campaign, right? So the issue is, can you influence the discourse? So that's what I'm saying. That needs to happen. It needs to happen. That the campaign needs to influence the discourse. And maybe it's happening, or maybe I'm wrong about it. But I'm just saying it's not. It's that's really the important metric here, whether the discourse is being influenced.
Yeah, but I think I mean, he could do what he can do. I think the responsibility is for the rest of us to also spread it as much as possible, right? Sure. It's not all on him, right? Yeah. But I think this is like I think this was a clever tactic. Instead of just saying it, printing it out, coming out and holding it to the camera and showing it, right? So that this is not just what I'm saying, guys. Look, this is being published on mainstream media. I think that's a very effective strategy.
Okay, got it. Everybody have it? And I told you that was going to happen. The second headline is this. Okay, Trump administration marks 15 straight months with zero border releases as apprehensions plunge 94%. In other words, the border. And that means for 15 straight months, we had zero people crossing the border. Are you impressed? Is anybody impressed? You are. Thank you. I'll give you the first question, therefore. Go ahead. Go ahead. Anybody? I have a lot of things that are happening, a lot of good things. The economy is doing unbelievably from the standpoint of Wall Street. We just set another record, as you know. It's 80 times where we're the best market in history. And that's good for 401ks, and it's good for a lot of things, but it's great for 401ks and jobs. I always say...
Oh, see, Monkey, this is what he's doing, what you said as well. So he's saying it's good for jobs and 401k. So he's telling you how it affects you, not just,
It's great for 401ks and jobs. So we hit number 80 record. So 80 days out of a short 1.5 years, we have a record stock market. 401ks have set a new record. And you take a look at the border, 15 months, 0 people coming through our southern border. Pretty amazing. And drug prices, again, prescription drug prices down more than at any time over 60 years. Okay, what else do I have to say?
This is very effective. I think this was brilliant. I think the coming out and printing it, saying like, I'm not saying it, like, look at this, the mainstream media is saying it. I think that was very effective. That was clever. I think that was good.
That's about 56% of Americans have some type of 401k.
That's it. Yeah. Isn't this, Monkey, what you were suggesting?
Yes, yes. There might be like a little bit more real world. Hey, jobs went up here because when you start, you don't have 401k. You're just starting. But yes, absolutely.
Oh, look at this. We got a super chat by Ehef saying the GOP also needs to talk more on the 500,000 plus of missing kids at the border, amount of sexual assault, and the forms of slavery. They want to play the morality card, make them face it all. 500,000? Is that a real number?
Yes.
Real? Oh.
Yeah, I think this goes to the underappreciated cost of open borders. So what happened is that like border passings were controlled by criminal gangs, and those criminal gangs often. I mean it is true. Like it oftentimes people paid for assistance in border crossing on future earnings. And how did they have to earn those? How did they have to make the money back in order to pay? So this is essentially indentured servitude. In many cases, they had to go into prostitution. And this is like, this is the kind of thing. This is a mafia. Like, you don't pay me, I break your leg. I cut off a finger. So we're really subjecting these people to really awful, extreme violence and depravity and exploitation. So this is a great point.
Yeah, you have to pay the mafia.
Monkey, you start something?
Yes. When you pay these coyotes are part of a mafia, right? So what happens? Oh, it's 2,000 to cross. Oh, I don't have to 2,000. Okay, I'm gonna let you pay me when you get to the other side. Give me 500 up front. I get you to the other side. On the other side, you work back 1,500, right? But that 1,500 comes with a very high interest. They're gonna probably place you somewhere where they give you housing, so they charge you for housing, and it becomes like what used to be called a company town, where they own all the everything that you're using, and they start discounting from what you adding to what you owe. And sometimes you have to do, sometimes you're like a day laborer at a farm, and they have little, huts that you live in. You're a woman, you might wind up doing some housekeeping or also work at a farm. But it said sometimes turns into prostitution. And sometimes when a family would come through, when you get to the other side, they would separate you. They would put like a number on the arm and say, don't worry, it'll all be okay on the other side. But, once they got all the guns, if they decide to separate you, they'll separate you. And so many of those kids were lost. And because you're working basically under the gun and under the eye. And these narcos, they work in conjunction with some of these farms. Like the problem is once those kids are separated, like you can sell a drug only once. You can sell a kid a lot of times. So that happens with adults and children.
All right, last video, because a lot of the CNN was making a big deal about USS Abraham Lincoln situation being bad there. So let's just see what President Trump has to say about that, because I think it was already scheduled to come out of there and a ship being replaced. That was already scheduled before any of this. So we already knew that there's there for so long, and this was already part of the plan before any of this. But let me actually play this.
Family members of U.S. service members are concerned about the conditions on board the USS Lincoln.
Well, no, that ship is moving. No, they're not. That ship is moving right now, or very shortly, and it's being replaced with another very similar ship.
Yeah, this was already the plan before any of this whole drama came out. So it was already planned. I think you should. Yeah, go on. You go on, Monkey. Sorry.
What I was going to say is this is what I believe happened. CNN knew that it was about to be rotated, so they created a story to drive a narrative that a ship that was going to be replaced anyway is being replaced because of the narrative we just spun.
Yeah, so they're going to make it seem like they caused this. Yeah. Very clever, though. Very clever. All right, guys, this was great. Sid, thank you so much for being here with us. So hopefully we'll get your channel sorted out so that we could start showing it, advertising it in the, on the show. Guys, we're gonna go to our group discussion in about in about an hour and 20 minutes. Monkey said you guys gonna be there to talk to us, to everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah. Okay,
hey,
so guys,
thanks guys for having me, both of you, to Monkey and Armin. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
You can come by my show too.
And thanks also to the chat.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you for
your input.
It's a great addition. Hopefully we get to do a lot more of this. So guys, Monkey's going to be there. I'll be there. Sid will be there. We have daily group calls in our discussion group. The link to this is in the description. The link is to it is in the QR code at the top left corner of your screen. And we will be live streaming it on Liberty Politics YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification to see our conversation over there. Again, this is going to happen in an hour and 20 minutes. You could either comment there and talk to us or just watch it here on Liberty Politics on YouTube. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to Monkey's channel as well. The link to that is in the description. And also don't forget to subscribe and like Liberty Politics as well. All right, guys, we'll see you guys soon in about an hour. And until then, I'm Israel Chai, Slava Ukrainian, Cuba Libre, Taiwan GIO, Long Live America, Javid Shah, Payande,
Iran.